fool the rest, but you can't fool me. You can't fool me. You can fool the rest, but you can't fool me. You can't fool me. You can fool the rest, but you can't fool. You can't fool me. You can fool the rest, but you can't. You can fool the rest, but you can't fool me. You can't fool me. You can fool the rest, but you can't fool me. You can't fool me. You can fool the rest, but you can't fool. You can't fool me. You can fool the rest, but you can't.
Here we go. I always make that mistake with the audio. I don't know. I shut it off and then I forget to put it on, but I know you can hear me now. So what we got to do tonight is I want to try to break this down. I got two different theories, I think, about what's going on in Ukraine. But we have to understand who these people are. You know, who's Putin and who is this guy Zelensky, the president of Ukraine. I mean, when you kind of hear who he is, it's a real joke. This guy's a puppet in Ukraine for sure. So we'll get into him first because he's easy. All right. So the president of Ukraine is an actor. Okay. He's basically a comedian and actor, and he got really big in Ukraine. And you can look at all of this. I mean, does it sound familiar? You know, we had an actor that became president too, right? So they put this, basically he's a puppet. They put him in there in Ukraine. They got rid of the old president. Now, I don't know if some of you are aware, while Biden was going in office, the former president of Ukraine, they had a warrant out for, not Biden's son, for Biden, okay, for his arrest. What country puts a warrant out for a president's arrest? I mean, this is how, you know, this guy, I guess the former president wasn't playing ball with this New World Order, demonic, people. Okay. So now we'll get into basically who Putin is. So now Putin, Charles Schwab loved this guy. I mean, he was part of their club. You could see he's a Mason. I've showed many pictures of him doing Masonic stuff. But, you know, like I always said, there is good Masons and bad Masons, just like there's good Illuminati and bad Illuminati. It's not all, they're all evil. They can't go against each other, as far as like, ratting each other out or anything like that, because they're still part of an organization. I don't know if people really did any homework into that. I have. So you got these good guys and bad guys in each of these secret societies, and Putin was part of that. He's a Mason. So Charles Schwab loved this guy, and this guy was part of the New World Order Club. Now, these are the two theories I got, because it's either one or the other. It can't be anything else. Let's understand now. Putin invaded Russia in 2008, right? So he was doing stuff already. He annexed Crimea. It's called Crimea. He annexed that part. He's trying to, I think, keep NATO from surrounding his country. He doesn't want to be surrounded by NATO. With NATO is basically New World Order all in place there. I mean, that whole NATO thing is set up. If you're not part of the club, they're going to send them in. The pit bull is going to send all the countries in on you. Like they're doing now to Russia. I mean, if you look at this right now, This is like, look, I'm not any type of Putin sympathizer, symphonizer, whatever you want to call the word. I don't even know. Sympathizer, whatever the word is. I'm not saying he's right or wrong. I'm just telling you the facts. I've never even imagined that every single country is ganging up on him this fiercely. Then all the corporations who should have no fucking business in politics are all ganging up. They're doing the cancel culture shit. Everybody, Hollywood, Netflix, you name it. Pizza Hut's probably boycotting Russia. I mean, like every single corporation you could think of is boycotting Russia. Okay, sanctioning Russia. They're putting pressure on Russia like it's unimaginable. Okay, and like this, boom. It's like the New World Order, gave their orders out there, and they said, you better do it. And all the corporations are all falling in line. Everybody's doing what they're told. So we got massive, massive, massive sanctions going on Russia, right? And then they're saying, well, we're still buying oil from them. I don't know if that's going to last long. But they're really putting pressure on Putin, okay, to cooperate with their plan. Now, it's either two things. Well, let's still get into Putin first. So Putin, basically, they say his grandfather was a cook for Stalin. They're trying to really build him up as a boogeyman, right? He was a KGB agent in 1975. He was only like 23 years old, and he was a spy. So he knows, he knows about that part of the game. And he did grow up from a working class family, a poor working class family in Russia. They claim he lived in an apartment building where they shared bathrooms and all that stuff. I don't know if people know about that. That was like in New York back in the days, when the Italians immigrated here, the Irish, they were living in apartment buildings, 3-4 families on the floor sharing bathrooms, poor people. That's how it was then. So he grew up basically in a poor family, a working class family, but so he's a street kid. He's not if you ever look at him too, like he acts like a street kid. He's taking all these pictures, he's hunting, he's scuba diving, he's always showing off like he's an alpha, and in 1991, he became like a deputy mayor. I got notes here, a deputy mayor of St. Petersburg. And then in 1997, he became deputy chief of the presidential staff. And then in 1998, he became head of their former KGB, which is called the head of Federal Security Service. They call it a nicer name, like our CIA. So he was head of, let's say, equivalent to our CIA in Russia. So he had all the cards. He had everything on whoever he wanted. They were spying on politicians, so he probably had all the leverage he needed because he went up the ladder real fast. 1999, he's deputy prime minister. Same year, he's the prime minister of Russia. Then 2000, he's the president of Russia. And then he gets power where he's never can be, thrown out of office. Like this guy's been a president for 22 years. So he has unlimited power. And even they're claiming he went to parliament and asked if he could, move forces towards the Ukrainian border. But they're claiming he never asked the parliament for permission to invade, but he didn't even need permission because he's in charge of their military. But, these are the claims they're making. But this guy Zelensky is the thing that bothers me. You got a comedian actor becoming president of a country, and the president before him has a warrant out for Biden's arrest. So it's something weird there, right? Kind of sounds funny. So these are my theories on what I think is going on I'm going to put a link in the panel, too, in case anybody wants to join, share their comments. Hold on. So I think it's one or two things. I'll give you kind of the bad version first. So the bad version is that Putin's still part of this New World Order, and this was all basically orchestrated to start this type of war and push Russia to the brink. And maybe Russia's going to, if you corner a rat in a corner, it's going to bite you. Okay, I was always told that. So if we're going to keep cornering Russia to the point of they're going to have no choice to do what they got to do, they're going to make it a big war. You may even see a nuke fly. He may launch one just to show people, like, hey, what you guys are doing to us is crazy. And maybe it's all orchestrated. This whole thing is the start, the New World Order with wars, crush economies, put people in a state of panic and things like that. And that is kind of my theory for the first one. Now, the second one may be the better of the options in a way, but I don't know. I think then let's go to option two. So option two, I don't know if anybody remembers where Putin Trump is my problem, but I'll get into him later. Putin basically was at a meeting with Trump, and they were on TV, and he said, he had a soccer ball, and he says, I'm going to pass the ball to you now. And Trump, you've seen what he was doing. He was going against the deep state at that point, doing all kinds of stuff to try to clean the swamp up, and he was bringing out all the stuff. So you kind of had to say, okay, Trump's the good guy, and it looked like Putin was with him, so Putin's the good guy, right? And I think they even said President Xi from China wasn't in on this New World Order shit either. So this is the second conspiracy theory I have. So what I think then what's going down is Putin ain't letting the New World Order now boss him around because he don't really want to be part of it. He got close with the Greek Orthodox Church. And the Greek Orthodox Church told him, we do not want digital currency because they know that that's going to lead to you're going to have to get like that chip in your hand or you're going to have it on your phone. And they're considering that the mark of the beast. So Putin is a very religious man with the Greek Orthodox Church or the Russian Orthodox Church. I don't know if you call it Greek or Russian. So anyway, if he's a religious man, Putin, and he flipped on the New World Order with Trump, and they even claiming she was in on it too, that's a good thing. But here's the problem. Trump's not around. Biden's in power. And also Putin pulled out of he got rid of all the central banks in his country. Like he didn't want to be part of that central bank stuff that the Rothschilds control, the whole planet with their banking system. So he kind of hoarded a lot of gold, and he, started backing up his own money with gold, which was making Russia stronger. And they ain't having no part of that. The whatever you want to call them, the cabal, the Rothschilds, they're in charge of the banking system part of the cabal. They weren't having no part of this. So they're really pissed off at Putin now at this point, because I think he's kind of flipping on the cabal. He don't want to be part of it. And what's going down now is Putin doesn't want NATO surrounding him because basically the cabal controls NATO. Okay, NATO is the cabal. That's their right arm, their enforcer. They use them. So Putin now is kind of like fighting them, and they put this guy in, this Ukrainian president that had no business in being a president. I mean, he's a comedian, actor. All of a sudden, you got this clown that's the president. He's a clown. He was a puppet. They threw him in there because they could control him. Now, what is the real story then? Is Putin the good guy or is he the bad guy? Because it looks like, to me, the whole entire planet almost is against Putin in a way I've never seen it happen this fast. Like every single country, they're all going again, but they're all scared. They don't want to fight him though. See, they don't want to fight him because they know the nukes will be coming up. China's kind of just stay neutral and stay out of it. But if you notice Europe, where, the head of the cabal, Illuminati, all that shit, it's all in England, man. That's the power right there. And then it gets spread out. But it seems like these people want to, hold on, I got to tell my nephew something. You better shut up. What? Because I'm on a show. Be quiet. All right. Anyway. So I think Putin's basically rebelling against them, and they're doing everything in their power to make him pay the price right now. I mean, every sanction they could possibly think of. I mean, when I hear company was Taco Bell sanctioning, Russia too. I mean, It's retarded that some of these companies that are sanctioning them. Apple, oh, we don't want to sell our phones to you no more. I mean, like, really? Apple, you got slave labor in China, and you don't want to sell phones to Russia. How about the American people? Shouldn't even buy your phones. But, most Americans don't care. Even if they hear, oh, slaves are making our phones, they don't give a shit. They want a good phone. But yet then they'll complain about slavery. I don't understand people anymore. I just don't understand it. And then, this is the best. They're sent in so far, they're saying 16,000 soldiers from different countries volunteered to go fight in a war. Look, there are a couple of crazy people out there that would do it, that would they want to go fight. But you're telling me 16,000 people are going to go fight for free in a war? They're all mercenaries that are hired by different governments to begin with. So let's get to the real picture. Okay, so they're sending in all these mercenaries, all these, Germany, Switzerland, America. They're paying all these mercenaries to go in there and help them out. And they're trying to make believe like these are freedom fighters from all these countries going to fight. Yeah, I don't really know any soldiers that go fight for free. All right, maybe there's a few lunatics out there, maybe 100 lunatics throughout the world that would just go and fight because they love it. But you can't tell me there's 16,000 soldiers going there to fight, armed to the teeth, and they're not getting paid to go there from countries. Because, these countries don't want to send their soldiers in there because they know then they're going to have to deal with Russia, right? So they're sending the mercenaries. It's a cowardly move to me. I mean, if you really want to stand up for a country, then send your real soldiers in, Don't send in mercenaries, You're just playing games. You think Putin don't know that? I mean, come on now. This is like insanity. And the reason why I say whether, look, if Putin's wrong, he's wrong. No problem. Got it, But if you look at really the picture, what's going on, it doesn't make sense. Like, Putin just didn't go in there for no reason. They're trying to make him out like he's Charlie Chaplin from Germany back, during the war. Listen, these are two different guys. They're trying to make him so bad that people are looking at this guy like the average person now, thinking like he's a real, he's a real tyrant. And he's been president of Russia for 22 years. I think if he was a super tyrant, we would have knew a lot more. All of a sudden, he's a big tyrant. And, before then, people didn't talk about him that bad, Even when Trump was president, if you notice, they tried to put Russia in collusion with him because I think at that point, him and Trump broke away from this new world order. I think they both said, we're not doing this shit. We're not going to, depopulate the planet by 95. They want to depopulate us down to 500 million. They want to do all this stuff. So I think that's what happened with Trump and Putin. They actually said even the president of China supposedly was in with them too. He didn't want to be part of it. But this new world order has got a lot of, they got a lot of power. This cabal, whatever you want to call them, they're pushing hard. They want to get this new world order in by 2030. So I think this is something, a lot deeper than we could see. But this is going to escalate if they keep cornering Russia. I think they have no choice now. He's called their bluff. And this is basically Russia against the cabal, to me. This is my opinion. But it could be that just Putin is with the cabal and this is all planned to, to start it all off. I don't know. One way or the other, something crazy is going on out there. But it's not what, they're making us see. It's not what they're telling us. This shouldn't happen for no reason. You want to, blame Russia. Fine. I think there's way more to it. I mean, if we were surrounded, America was surrounded by all different NATO forces. I don't think America would like it either. And that's the main thing. He told them, if Ukraine joins NATO and you let them in, I'm going in. So they kept pushing and they wanted Ukraine in NATO so they could arm up Ukraine, start bringing in all types of weapon systems and stuff in Ukraine. Because I think they wanted to hold Putin in check. They only wanted him to control what he was controlling. They didn't want him to do anything else. And they were pissed off with the central bank. I think that was the big thing, Once you don't want to, do the money thing with them, that's it. They did it to Gaddafi in Libya. He wanted to back his money with gold. Boom. They took him out and his whole family. Same thing with Saddam Hussein. It wasn't weapons of mass destruction. It was all bullshit. They never found them. Then they claimed he brought them somewhere else. It was all about Saddam Hussein turned on them too. He told them, nah, you know what? I'm not participating in this anymore. So George Bush taught him a lesson. They brought them, they took over the whole country and took them out. So this is what's going on out there. There's a lot more behind the curtain. This cabal, or whatever you want to call them, this new world order, or these corporations, basically, to me, they're all run by Satan somehow. A lot of them are satanic, and they're basically, they're going to push real hard. I mean, I see what the sanctions that are coming out are like retarded. Some of them. I mean, like, what is Burger King going to have a sanction against Russia too? I mean, come on, give me a break. Some of these companies are hypocrites. They do worse than anything, and they're worried about this guy selling telephones, and you're only hurting the Russian people anyway. Really, I mean, what he's doing. I don't think he's right invading Ukraine, but he may have a good reason to be doing it. I mean, if he's protecting his country in his mind, and they're really messing with the wrong guy. This guy psychologically, Putin, is no pushover. This guy will do whatever needs to be done. He's not going to sit there and ask for permission. He's going to do it. He did it already. They say he didn't even ask Parliament to invade Ukraine. He asked them to let them bring troops to the front line, but they said he never asked Parliament, to go in. But he did it anyway, So that's kind of what I think is going on. A little more, but what I find annoying is the president of Ukraine I think he's a clown. He dresses like a clown. He acts like a clown. I don't know if he's trying to act like he's a regular person. The guy was a professional comedian, was actually very good. And he actually played in a TV show where he was the president. Okay, so this guy knows how to act like a president. I mean, now they're making actors presidents. This is where we stoop to, because they got to get somebody that can really act and bullshit the people. Seeing a fella talking in Ukraine says giving guns to everyone was a bad move. Yep, there's a lot of crime there now. They said the country's in chaos. There's a lot of crime there. People are panicking. There's no food. They can't get stuff in there. Yeah, so look at this. Gangs taking each other out, rapes, the whole nine. Yeah, Prairie, you're right. This stuff is going on. I've seen videos of that stuff going on. All right. The only thing I'm wondering if Putin's a good guy or the bad guy. That's what I'm wondering. Because I don't know if people consider the administration right now that we have in this country the good guy. I don't. I think they're against us. I think some of them are demons. I mean, did anyone see Pelosi the other night? It was like a demon possessing her. She just got up and she started going, yeah, and rubbing her hands together and smiling and doing some like weird shit. And I'm like, what's wrong with this lady? Is she tweaking? Or is she on some kind of, is she drunk? I mean, I actually think the demon took over a little bit. Like, I think these people are possessed. They don't even know that. I think there's demons in these people because a lot of them, their eyes have changed. I don't know if people have realized. Biden used to have blue eyes. Now when he talks, his eyes are solid black. Look at all these politicians that are like kind of evil in your mind. They all got like black eyes. Like their eyes are dark. There's no color in them. It's almost, they look lifeless. Like even Zuckerberg. I seen him years ago. He didn't look like. Now you see him and he's different. Like something's inside these people. I think they're possessed. People think it's crazy. There's demons. Listen, there's probably demons in your room right now. They're in the fourth dimension. You just can't see them. It's probably angels too. I mean, we can't see 4D. That's what the Almighty God did. He stopped it. He made it where we can't even, these demons can't do anything here. They have to actually get into somebody in this world. I think some of these people are possessed. I think they go to these rituals, like the Masons. I think when you hit that 33rd degree, they do some kind of magic ritual and a demon comes out and goes in them and they don't even realize what's happening. I mean, you don't, it's not like The Exorcist where you're possessed by a demon and your head's spinning around and everything. No, you don't. It's in you. You don't even know it's in you. It's probably just changing your mind to do things. It's what Pelosi did the other night was, well, I don't even think if she was drunk or on drugs, you would act like that. She was acting like some weird thing. Like she just did this thing with her hands. I don't know, what was this, like a signal to the demon or some shit? I don't know what she was doing. And she was grinning and standing up. It was the weirdest shit I ever seen of a politician. And these people are in power in our country. So are they the good guys, really? I mean, I know the people are. We are. The sin of it all is if we do get into wars, you know, average regular Americans are going to be getting killed. You know, our soldiers, and these are good people. You know, so it's weird. Anybody got any questions? I've heard invisible knocking. So, what do you mean, DJ? Invisible knocking, like that's what Pelosi was doing? That's pretty cool. But what do you mean invisible knocking? Maybe you could basically tell us a little more about that, because I like this theory here. And let me just put another link. Oh, you heard invisible knocking in our house. Oh, wait a minute. Let's see. How many music artists have you heard they sold their soul and they aren't the same after? Yeah, plenty. I mean, look, if I'm a famous musician, I'm not making the signs of the devil on my face and covering my eyes and doing all that shit. So they're not doing it to be cool. They're doing it because they sold their soul. I mean, let's face reality. Loud knocking at the door. So I'm a little confused, DJ. You said you heard invisible knocking in our house. Loud knocking at the door. What do you mean, your house? So anybody that's tuned in right now, I did talk about what's going on in Ukraine. I guess you're going to have to play back the video to talk about that. But if anybody wants to jump on, I mean, we could have a discussion about it. I mean, I have two different theories about it. One was good and one is bad. And even the good one may end up in war anyway. I think either way, this is going to end up, escalating. I don't know how deep it's going to escalate. But when, they're sending in mercenary soldiers from different countries and they're trying to say they're volunteering, which is bullshit. No guy goes to war for free. Only maybe there's a couple of psychos that would do it. But in general, a mercenary, you're going to have to pay them some extremely large money to go into Ukraine and fight right now. I wouldn't do it even if I was a mercenary. If I was an ex-retired Navy SEAL, I wouldn't go into Ukraine. I'm not going to go volunteer to go into a war. It's one thing to do a security detail for someone. I mean, a lot of these retired, like Special Force Navy SEALs, I mean, these guys are making a couple of $100,000 a year protecting, celebrities. No reason for me to go in Ukraine and start fighting. So they must be paying these guys extremely large money to go in there and go into war. I mean, because that war there is not a joke. That's a real war going down. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Trash Can. We were talking about earlier about Trash Can. We were talking about what's going on in Ukraine. I had two different scenarios in my mind. Then we got into, a little bit about Pelosi. I can't figure out what the hell Pelosi was doing the other night with that hand motions, doing this shit and smiling. Even if she was drunk or tweeted out on something, I still can't see somebody doing that shit. Like, was that like some kind of signal? She was doing it when Biden was talking about the burn pits. So was she getting excited, like, with the burn pits? Like, we're going to do, we're going to have sacrifice people or something. Like, yeah, I love that stuff. I mean, like, I don't get what she was doing, man. It was really spooky. I think just her doing that, she should be thrown out of office. Like, they should already had her under psychological evaluation right now. I mean, why isn't she, like, under psychological evaluation for doing that shit? I mean, that shit she did was insane. I don't know if people didn't see it, but I've never even can imagine somebody doing shit like that. I mean, I don't know if you remember the State of the Union with Trump, and she kind of like dissed him, or he dissed her actually, which was great. And then she ripped up the transcript. She's very emotional. She's 80 years old. I don't know. She must have a very good plastic surgeon too, because shit, she don't look no 80 years old when you look at her. She has not a wrinkle on her face. She must have got 10 facelifts already. So Trash Can saying, I know, I love Trash Can. He knows a lot of stuff too. You see Joe Biden read, go get him. That wasn't supposed to be read. That's for his handlers. I get it. Yeah, I guess Pelosi was giving them maybe a signal too. Like this meant like something, man. Who does that? Like she got up and she started like, and she was smiling and doing like it was some crazy shit. I never seen nobody do any. I think she should basically be on the psychological evaluation right after that. They should have dragged her out in a white jacket. And this lady's running Congress. I mean, this is how insane this country is. It's not even the people's fault though. It's just like nobody can do anything lately. It seems like they just basically fortressed up, Washington D.C. and they ain't let nobody in there, and they're just going to keep running the show. It's like a bunch of pirates took over our country, But it's a clown act. Even that State of the Union, I don't know if people watched it. I mean, I don't even know. Was that really in the? They do it in like that building, the Congress. Was that really in the building? Because it looked small. It didn't look like a normal State of the Union. They were all spread out, still 6 feet apart. It was like they were having a satanic ritual with the State of the Union. That's what it looked like to me. I mean, Kamala Harris was just sitting there, looked like a zombie. I mean, like that shit was weird, man. Even that State of the Union, it wasn't a normal State of the Union. It seemed like a different government. Like, I guess that's the what they want to give us right now. They want to make us understand that this is a whole different thing coming, So I think the Gone report is going to be correct from war inside the border of the U.S. Speculate on that a little more, outnumbered. So what are you saying? There's a war inside the border of the U.S. Like, what do you mean? And Hilarion says, yeah, the only thing I'm wondering with this whole, basically, with this whole Biden and Putin and all these leaders in NATO and all these I mean, they're all going against Putin like wildfire. I mean, like it's extreme. You would think like he dropped nukes already. I mean, like the extreme level they're going at him right now. It's like they're trying to teach him a lesson. All these cabal and deep state and all this shit, all these evil people that are running the world right now. It looks like something crazy. Now, if Putin did this because he's still part of their club, and like Hydros is saying, and that may be it. It's a cover up for the downfall of the U.S. dollar. I heard could definitely be. But right now, it looks like it's the downfall of the Russian ruble. I mean, because they're getting sanctioned to death. I mean, like to the point of no return. And every corporation now has got their business in politics now. All of a sudden, I don't know if people have noticed, every single corporation has something to say. Like, since when did like companies like Netflix and, Apple phones and all these people get political? I mean, Apple should stick their head in a hole because they got slave labor in China making our phones. It's like they're such hypocrites, and we got to tolerate this shit. I mean, it's crazy. Where do these people, like, they got a set on them like an elephant, these people. I mean, really. You're over here using slave labor to make your products, and then you're trying to speak up against Russia. Like, it's crazy. Like, if they just minded their own business, then they at least wouldn't be hypocrites because they know they're no good, evil people. But when evil people start saying the other guy's evil, it has to raise a red flag. If America and a few of the big countries were going against Putin and saying you can't do this shit, I'd be like, it would seem more realistic to me that what Putin's doing is real. Like, he's really going in there for that reason. But when every single country, in like a matter of minutes, gang up on him, and every single company that could sanction Russia starts sanctioning, I mean, this is like overkill. Like, I've never seen it happen. You would think like we're in World War II already. When America went and invaded Iraq because they were, freeing the people, nothing happened, right? We just went in there and did it, and no, everybody shut up. This guy's going in to Ukraine. Now, he's claiming, too, there's a lot of cities in Ukraine that don't even want to be part of Ukraine. There was a lady on TV that was talking to a French reporter, telling them that this president of Ukraine is destroying our country. This guy Zelensky, like our administration's own. She was claiming, like, we're having super high inflation. This lady claimed that the people that work have to spend half their salary, of monthly salary, because in a lot of countries, people get paid by the month. They have to spend half their monthly salary just to pay their fuel bills because of the inflation of oil in their country. So if Ukraine's going through all this stuff with this guy Zelensky, and now all of a sudden Putin says, well, I got a lot of people and Russian citizens that are in these couple of borderline cities. They said like 50-60% of those people don't even want to be part of Ukraine. And he goes in there to free those people. He's still the bad guy. You get it? Like, it's like, I guess the spearhead of this cabal New World Order is America. It seems like America gets away with whatever the hell they want, and this has nothing to do with Americans. We're all good people, but a lot of us have been fooled by these demons that are running our country right now, because that's what they are. There's no doubt they are demons. Let's stop making excuses for them that they're kind of like, they don't know what they're doing and all. No, they're evil. What they're doing is evil. They took over, and they're basically tyrants right now. And they're making us believe we're still under some kind of constitution. Well, I would like to know where that is, because I don't see them respecting our constitutional rights. You go to court now, you'll get a lot of judges still that haven't been corrupted because they're low-level judges. So that's a good thing. But these high-level judges, forget it. Game over. They ain't putting nobody in there. You think somebody's in the Supreme Court that wasn't compromised already? Yeah. Absolutely. Even this war's distracted everybody off of a lot of stuff. Nobody's looking at what they're doing. They could probably sneak in a million laws right now, Congress and the Senate. They could just sneak stuff in. Nobody's paying attention. Everybody's talking about Russia, Ukraine, Russia, Ukraine, Russia, Ukraine. That's all you see. Yeah. I believe it. That's what I'm saying. Tommy, I'm with that. Like, I know this is way more deeper than just Putin wanted to go in there. Something else is going on here. I think he's not playing ball with them. That's what it is. He wants to get out. Like, he's like, I'm out. And when you're the president of Russia, it's not like you're the president of a little country. They could come in and really, take over like they did with Ukraine. They got rid of that Ukrainian president. That guy had a warrant out for Biden, not his son. Let me make this clear. The ex-president of Ukraine, they had a warrant out for Biden's arrest. So that means, like, the cabal must have flipped out in the New World Order. They say, oh, we got to get rid of this guy. Boom. And now they put this clown in Zelensky. It was an actor comedian. I mean, is this guy really somebody we should trust? It's ridiculous. Stop buying parts of the building corporate government sponsored. Yeah, something's really, I mean, when I seen every corporation going against Russia, I mean, not that, hey, good. I mean, but like, I've never seen, have you ever heard of like Netflix saying we're sanctioning against Russia? Like every single I mean, I think Taco Bell said we're not going to sell you tacos anymore. I mean, really? I mean, this is how crazy they is. So how did corporations all of a sudden have even the fucking right to even open their mouth and say we're sanctioning shit like this? Like, who are you? Shut the fuck up. You're Netflix. Like, now you're into politics. Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, why are we letting all these corporations have such fucking power that it's ridiculous? Apple, fucking slave labor camps in China, and they were over there saying we're gonna not sell phones to Russia. Like, fuck you, Apple. Who gives a shit? Like, shut your mouth. You're no good anyway. I don't even know why Americans buy your phones, but that's, we live in a clown world, and people just don't care. They only care about themselves. We live in a me world. See? This is why they're getting away with this shit. Yeah, I know that. Yeah, I keep telling people, Russia, I think, supplies like 50% of the world with the fertilizer, the nitrate that they need. So they're going to blame Russia. We're going to have no food in America. It's Russia's fault. Yes, I agree. But like now it's like these fucking corporations make it so obvious who they are. They used to mind their own business. Now they're all like politically involved, Maybe the NBA and the NFL are going to say, we're not going to allow Russia to watch our games anymore. I mean, like, who the fuck are you? Shut up. I don't care about your bullshit. I don't care about Netflix. Listen, if this shit is real and we really feel this strong about it, then we got to send soldiers in. What is all this other bullshit? Oh, Netflix, Apple, Taco Bell, Burger King, McDonald's. Who's next? Is Hanes Underwear going to say, hey, we're not selling Russia any underwears? Is Scott Tissue going to say, you can't even wipe your ass no more? We're not going to sell you toilet paper. I mean, what the fuck? Even though Russia probably has their own companies and they can make their own stuff, but that's beside the point. Like, when did these people become, like, even important to us? Who the fuck is Netflix? Who cares? When did Netflix become important? When did Apple become important? Like, they got something to say. I can give two shits what you say. Netflix, like, it's a clown act that people even pay for Netflix. You can get everything for free, but people still rather pay Netflix money who puts pedophile movies on their stuff, like, Cuties. They tried to pull that shit until everybody said, we're canceling. And then they changed their mind and pulled it off, Yeah. Oh, the Russian students out of schools, but that's okay. What is that shit about? Right. Even if you're an American Russian now, are we going back to like Japanese days? Are they going to start getting American Russians and putting them in camps like we did to the Japanese? Is that what they want to do? Because I think they're trying to turn Americans against Russian Americans, which I don't think it's going to work this time. Okay? Which is a crock of shit. Like the Russia Tea House had to bend the knee and support, and this is in New York. They're supporting Ukraine, like, because they're so scared shit of what people are going to do. Like, are we that dumb that we're going to get down to their level of bullshit? Like, what happens if Italy did this? Should I be in a camp because I'm Italian? Such a crock of shit what's going on. And we're all sitting here like clowns watching this shit, right? Because I don't really hear nobody talking the talk I'm talking right now. I go out there, people are just brain dead. They're not looking at the big picture. This cancel culture shit's got to end. And the best way to end it is we got to cancel all these politicians. They got to be canceled. We should act like they don't even exist because they're passing laws that they don't care about us. We're not voting on any of this shit that they're passing. Tinder plan is for Americans to pose as Russians and talk against the war. Huh. Funny, Pops. And I just said the same thing. Well, Uncle Guns, I'd love to hear what you got to say about it because I know you're pretty You're pretty in detail with this shit, way better than me. And Texas in the house. Yeah, I got to say it one more time. I just don't understand who the fuck is Netflix that they got to like make a big deal like they're sanctioning Russia. Like this shit don't make sense to me, you know? And they definitely would love, I mean, they'll love for Americans to start like hating on Russian people, or Russian Americans we're even talking about, because they want to put them in camps. They want to start this shit, so we accept it. This is the shit they're trying to do, I think, in my mind. I think they want to do this shit because it doesn't make sense. You're letting them get away. Why isn't the government stopping all this hate? It's okay for them to hate who they want. Is that what it is? Well, we'll see. We'll see how far they want to take it. Yeah. But I really, I watch a few shows, and these shows were talking about that the Orthodox Church, who Putin is very part of, like I guess he's religious, they do not want digital currency. Okay, they told him we do, because if he goes against them, most of the people there are Orthodox, right? So he, I think he's part, with them anyway. I think he is religious. I hope he is. And they don't want that digital currency because they know that's the mark of the beast. Once that starts, then you're going to have to get a chip down the road. It'll probably be in your right hand, just like they say. This ain't no bullshit. All right. They have this little chip that could go in. And if not, you're going to use your phone. Maybe that's equivalent to it. The phone, it's still a mark of the beast, considering. Hey, how you doing now? So I think the church in Russia said, we don't want this. And that's why Putin ain't playing ball with them. They pulled their banks out of their system. Hydros. Elon Musk is working on that Neuralink. Yeah, we know that. It will be your organ. But yeah, it's I just can't understand when all these people, are they going to start persecuting Russian Americans? Because once I see that, then I know it's game over. We're just living in Germany all over again, because they are starting to go after, like, they closed they took away in Jersey. There's a company called Luke Oil. It's a Russian gasoline company, franchise. But Americans own these things, okay? So, like, if I bought a Burger King franchise and I lived in Russia, it would be equivalent. I bought a Luke Oil franchise in a gasoline station in America. And in Jersey, I think it's Newark, if I'm not mistaken, but I know they took away their permits of these franchises that are American-owned. What? Because they're Russian. What is going on? Like, you shouldn't be able to do shit like that. That shit should be 100% illegal, and yet they're just pulling this shit off. Even low-level politicians are now trying to make statements. Like, so, what's next? Are we going to start rounding up Russian Americans? I mean, is this what they want to do, these idiots? I mean, what are they trying to do here? I think their goal is to make people, they want so much hate. They love it. They love hate, man. These evil people that are in control love people hating on each other. No, it isn't. 2 years away, tops. So, look. Neuralink is 50 years away. I'll agree with that. I don't know. Let's go. I'll say Neuralink to me, because the way the technology, is going with these quantum computers, I would say it's at least 25 years away, but it could be 50. But I'm going to go at least 20. I don't think it's going to happen overnight. But now this guy he's saying it's 2 years away. Now, maybe it's 2 years away for them experimenting with it on human beings. Maybe the beginning, they're going to use it for like medical. Like if you're paralyzed and things like that, they're going to try to trick your brain and do shit like that, I heard. But then eventually it's going to get into the control business, eventually. Or you have like a chip in you, and you'll have like this eye. It's like a computer screen, and you could like kind of pull up information right there. But whose information are you going to pull up anyway? Google? The shit that they put in there that they want you to read? you know? Yeah, but it's definitely not. I don't think it'll be. Maybe it's 2 years away from an experiment. I don't think it's going to be in full force working in 2 years. No way. I mean, unless there's some fallen demons that come up and give us the technology real quick, or they fake alien invasion and we start getting reversed engineered technology real fast. You know. But yeah, it's crazy. I just when all these corporations start becoming political, it's a spooky thing because now they got something to say. So really, who's running the game here? Who's really running the game? Corporations or the government? I never seen any type. I mean, look, I'm 57. I lived through a couple of, small wars like the Iraqi war and things like that. I've never seen sanctions happen this fast, like rapid fire. Everybody, the whole planet's against Russia now, except for China's kind of staying neutral, and there's a couple of countries with Russia, but the rest of the whole world just all of a sudden jumped on the bandwagon. You would think like he dropped a nuclear bomb on Ukraine. I'm not saying that he should, whatever he's doing is correct, but the point of the matter is I've never seen this rapid response like this to the point where all these corporations started getting involved, like, we're not going to sell you taco meat anymore, Taco Bell, like shit like that, like Coca-Cola. We're not going to sell you Coca-Cola anymore. I mean, like, come on. I don't even think during World War II there were sanctions like that against Germany, and they were doing way crazier shit, And what's to say? I'm off in my head. I spent my stimulus check on some lead. Yep, I agree with that. Outnumbered. We're gonna one day, the pure bloods. We're gonna be worth. Our blood is gonna be worth a fortune. I go out in public, man. Everybody I talk to has gotten it. They all think it works. They all think it helps. It's crazy. People just believe. They actually believe this whole thing was real. There was like some deadly plague out there. I mean, really, come on, man. Craziness. Crazy. I don't even really talk about it anymore because it's useless. I could go up to somebody and show them 100 articles on why, let's say, drinking this soda that you're drinking is no good for you. It gives you I smoke cigarettes, right? Okay, people, I know that already. And I'll agree. I know it's killing me. But these people don't even agree on anything. They like, nah, it's not happening. Like all the food you eat has millions of chemicals in it. And people are like, it's still healthy. If I told people, hey, fluoride's no good for you, I mean, people can't even get it out of their mind that fluoride's no good for you. They're still drinking the tap water out of their faucet. They think there's nothing wrong with fluoride. The dentist recommends it. It's good for your teeth. And then they'll say something like, well, the English, see, all their teeth are yellow. It's because they don't have fluoride in their city water. That's actually better. I won't drink fluoride water. I mean, you can drink it all you want. I ain't putting that in my body. But the problem is, you take a shower, and that's fluoride water too. So you got to get a filter on your shower. And the hardest thing to get out of water is fluoride. You got to reverse osmosis to get it out. There's really no filter that could really get fluoride out. There are a few Berkeleys that claim it takes like 98, 99% of the fluoride out of the water, these Berkeley water systems, but I don't believe them. I actually bought a Berkeley and I sent it back. It was horrible. My water was like, there was shit in my water. Like, I seen like, and I did the instructions, cleaned out the filters the way they said, and still, when I would pour water through it, I would get like this foggy shit in my water. And I called them up. I said, what is this shit in my water? And they were like, oh, it's just, it happens for a while and it goes away. What do you mean it happens for a while? What is it? I asked them. They couldn't answer me. All right, let's see what we got in the chat. All right. right? Yeah, right. I got that one already. I saw that as a drill for future virus that actually messes people up. Yeah, I think they're gonna. I think maybe they got something that's gonna be a lot more serious in the future. Uh, I mean, if you think about it, like I don't even what was it like 1% of the population or less than 1% was even dying from this thing. Could you imagine it was something out there that was killing 10% of the population? That would be like mass hysteria. Like, I think the Spanish flu was like 50-50. You were going to die if you caught it, right? Or something like it. It was a real high rate, 40%. Imagine if we got something that's like maybe 1% and we're in a world panic. The flu is kind of like almost 1%. So I don't know why people are panicking. People die. You get sick sometimes. You get pneumonia. You're older, especially. Your immune system's compromised. I mean, you die from just a common cold, So if they imagine something being made that will wipe out, let's say, even 10%, 5% of the population, people would freak out. I went to a store today. You don't even got to wear a mask in Jersey anymore. This lady had a mask on, and then she had a face shield on. And I said to her, I laughed. I said, "Oh, you look like a welder." She goes, "Yeah, I ain't playing no games." I go, "Yeah, I know you ain't playing that." I said, "Did you get that thing there?" She goes, "Yeah, I got that too." And she said, "And if I didn't get it, I wouldn't be here." I said, "Well, you may not be here 3 years from now, but I don't want to get into it with you. But let me ask you this. You did get it, so why you got all that gear on? I thought it's supposed to protect you." And she couldn't answer me. She was like frozen. I said, "Did you hear what I said?" I said, "So you got it, and it's supposed to protect you, but yet you got all these face coverings on. Why?" I mean, she couldn't answer me. But that's what you get. They don't even know why. People don't even know why they're doing what they're doing. They can't even explain to you. Like, if she would have said, "Yeah, well, I still want to take extra precautions," and she would explain to me, I would have been, "Oh, all right." She just couldn't answer. She was brain dead. She was like, she almost wanted to tell me, "I don't know why. Maybe I just like looking like this. Maybe I looking like a welder wearing a diaper on my face. I don't know." Wait, what's this? Let's see. Apex is affordable water filter. I got to look into that. For mandating the market. Yep, yeah, trash can. I'm with you on that one. That's definitely 100% on point. I'm with you, Rebel, but I don't really get into it because to get into that stuff, it's like talking to a wall. There are a few people like you and me, we understand this. If I got into that kind of details, which I'm with you on it, people they just think we're crazy. They just don't get it. They don't understand. And here we go. There we go. Perfect, outnumbered. Yep, I seen that too. Now, when insurance companies are showing you that, that's the real deal, because it's all about the money, right? So these insurance companies are going to have to actually get funded by the government's going to have to kick in and give them money, or they're going to open their mouth. I think they're going to kind of blackmail the government. Well, you better help us out, cover all these life policies because we can't afford to pay them all out. Oh, well, Uncle Guns, I actually heard that on a couple of shows, too, about that with the insurance companies, that they're getting worried because you know how insurance works. I mean, these guys know how many people are going to die per year up to, within a very minimum mark of error. And they said it's out of control right now. Here's another fact. I don't know if people notice. 10% of the funeral homes in this country are traded on the stock exchange. Okay, there's like 2 stocks you go buy. Both of them. One went up like 160%, and one went up like, I don't know, 80% or 100%. Like they're both kicking ass. Funeral home stock. Why is that? Obviously, there's more people dying. Keeper of the list, Pops. What's going on, buddy? the debt rate is going to skyrocket. All the old folks nowadays lived on homegrown vegetables and meat. We all live on chemicals. Yep. Well, that's a whole nother story for another day. You know, people go to the store and they don't even try to not buy shit with chemicals. They just buy whatever's cheaper, you know? And keeper of the list. So, yeah. Now, let me put another link if anybody wants to come on. Yep, there you go. It's up there. Yep, so things are crazy. And who got a subject? Anybody in chat? Something you want to talk about? Throw it in the chat. I'll comment on it, you know, see what's going on. And yeah, put it in there. Let me put it on YouTube. Alrighty. Put it in YouTube also, so you guys can look at it. But I've been drinking, and I would join. I like Hydro Hose says I've been drinking, and I would join. I got you. Yeah, I've had a few people on my show. One night, one of my friends came on. He was really drunk, man. He was so sloshed. I forgot who he was fighting with. Was he fighting with Uncle Guns? No, he was fighting with Tommy Pinoy. Then by the end of the night, they were friends. He was sloshed though. Tommy was there, I think. What did Tommy say? I didn't see that. They'll find any way they can forge World War III. Radio is about to become the big information source that it used to be. Yep. I agree. They're probably going to pull the plug on the internet. That's definitely going to happen sooner or later. There won't be no more YouTube. Yep. I agree, Uncle Gun. They keep telling us meat, all this shit about meat is no good for you. Meat is no good for you. But, you know, these Eskimos, that's all they eat is like meat and fish. And there's a lot of cultures that they just eat meat and they live forever. And they're skinny and they're in shape. And then people that eat all these vegetables are getting more sick. I think there's so much chemicals on vegetables now that, you know, it's hard. Even organic. Are they really giving us organic shit? I mean, is it really organic? Even, you know what they claim too now? What they're watering the plants with has chemicals in it. So if the water, the plant's absorbing the water, the plant's going to have that shit in it no matter what, even if it's organic, you know? Yeah. Well, definitely. And you know how many more people are depressed now from them lockdowns and doing all kinds of drugs? I think the drug industry, legal and non-legal, went through the roof. I think more people were doing like cocaine and smoking pot and doing all kinds of crazy shit during this corona than ever. They're locked in their house. They needed something to calm them down, you know? And I'm hopping on. We got a radio on YouTube is gone. The best to buy from a local farmer you know and can visit. Yeah, I agree, but you know, when you live in a big city, it's kind of hard to go find a farm. I'll be right back in 1 minute. I just got to go get a drink. Oh, there we go. Now you can hear me probably. All righty. And we got Uncle Guns coming on.
Yo, Pops.
How's it going?
What's up, man?
Same old shit.
Yeah, I saw a story that all those recommendations that this is the AHA, the American Heart Association, okay? These are the
Right.
ones that make the recommendations for the past 50 years about, low fat, whole grain.
Right.
These are the people that signed off on Cocoa Puffs and, just craziness like that. High fructose corn syrup and all this just mess. They had to walk it back. They were forced to because all these doctors were coming forward and giving data to the American Heart Association, and they found out two things. That number one, the very low carb diet produced more results than the actual AAHA recommended diet recommendations.
Yeah, they even say they got
And
to change that food pyramid. They got to
yeah,
change it.
and on top of that, they were finding that that it was actually the very low carb diet, aka keto, carnivore, and paleo, were actually reversing, heart disease, coronary diseases, brain related diseases, vascular
Diabetes,
diseases.
everything. Yeah.
It was diabetes, reversing all kinds of stuff.
It did it for my dad. I put my
Yeah.
dad on a low carb diet. His diabetes went away.
Yeah, told you,
You know?
I've been up all on that for years, and people are just baffled, just absolutely baffled.
My biggest problem is I love bread and pasta, so I've gone on these low carb diets and lost a great amount of weight, look good, but I always fall back into my old
Oh
habits.
no, you can. I still eat crazy sometimes,
Yeah,
but I
like one
use
day
it.
a week.
Yeah, I use it as a reward. Actually, I was doing it one day a week. Now I'm doing it about twice a month because I just, it was just better for me.
Yeah, I
I
think
started.
twice a month's better. I think once a week you still get too much carbs, too much fat stored.
Well, I was doing it once a week, and I still had no problem with it
Were you
because
exercising?
usually like I told you before, I eat 2 meals a day. I only eat twice a day, and
Right.
it's all meat and fat. And
When do you like what time frames do you eat twice a day?
I eat in a 6-hour window.
Yeah, because they say you need. That's another thing. Your body needs time to do other things than digest your food, like to heal you. So when you eat
Yeah.
in that 6 hour window, it's good because then your body can function on other shit that it needs to do.
Well, I mean, again, that's part of the study and they buried it. By the way, this is the other part I forgot to mention. The AHA took the studies that doctors have. They took all of this and they buried it in their latest paper that they released, and it's buried on page like 106 or something.
Why do you think they're burying in this stuff, though?
Because then they would have to admit that they can't admit that they were wrong. They've been telling people the wrong thing for 50 years. Like you were saying about the insurance companies, that would mean that that would put a dent in a lot of products, and it might start a surge it might start a surge of lawsuits.
Oh
So
yeah.
they can't, they're gonna. Well, my theory is that they'll slowly walk it back, and then they'll slowly start incorporating. They'll redo the food pyramid into a low carb thing,
Mm-hmm.
but they'll do it for at danger, at risk, people first, and then they'll slowly incorporate it over the course of 20 years or something, and then there'll be this big uptick in people's health, and then they'll take all the credit for it. Oh yeah, we've had sufficient evidence of that for 2.5 decades, of course.
Right.
Yeah, we always knew that.
That's it. That's one thing people don't realize. Like the big and powerful never apologize. they'll just like go on like it never happened, and eventually, like you're saying, bring it up and say, "Oh, see, we're the heroes."
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
they're the ones.
I'm 10,000% on what Rebel said. He's got a
What,
lot of good stuff to say. I'd like to see him on more
where
panels.
is what did he say? Where is it? Let me see.
He says the best to buy from local farmer that you know and can visit,
Oh,
and that's
100%. It's
that's
just
something
hard. It's hard to find though.
well, I'll say it again on the stream. I don't mind repeating myself when it's awesome information that myself and a lot of people that I know have benefited from. But
Mhm.
you got to visit multiple farmers markets. Go visit one. Go visit a different one every week. It's usually on the weekend. Some of them are on the weekday. But go visit a different one every week and go talk to local farmers and tell them straight up, hey, I want to come out, you know, I want to come out once a month or once every other month, and volunteer on your farm and learn how to do this. Learn how to grow food, learn how to take care of animals. They'll be glad to have you, and they will feed you usually. They'll feed you, they'll give
Yes.
you all the water, they'll allow you to oh well, I'm not in shape to do that, guns. Well, they'll allow you to take breaks to say, hey, I'm trying to get in shape, I'm
Yep.
trying to get outside more, I'm trying to breathe more fresh air, and I'm trying to learn how to farm. If I volunteer on your farm, can you teach me how to do this? And I've never heard of anybody being turned away. You got to learn how to do this.
Who would turn away free labor? Nobody.
Exactly.
Unless they think there's something wrong with you and they're nervous.
Exactly.
But you said something before. I didn't know what you were commenting on. Here, let me send. You said, what did you say? I wanted to see what you were talking about because I agreed with you. I thought, oh, you said funny pops. I said the same thing.
You and I said the exact same thing at the exact same time.
Oh, okay.
I was making a complete satire joke, just to preface it. I was making a complete satire joke about, well, why don't we just take the Russians and put them in internment camps like they did the
Yeah,
Japanese during the war?
right.
You know,
I mean, that's what they're trying to. I don't know if they're trying to lead to something like that. But
Primal
we
Man's
got.
in the chat.
Yeah, I was wondering what happened. Like they haven't made a show in like 2-3 weeks. I
Yeah,
figured he took a vacation.
everybody's Tony, Primal, and Gonzo all disappeared at the same time.
Yeah, well, I think Gonzo and Primal are like kind of Batman and Robin, so they go together. But they both
They're
disappeared at the same time. So
fighting crime.
yeah, they must have did something. They're on the run.
DJ Spin.
And yeah. It's almost maple syrup season. Yeah, that's when Canada, if you don't give them their maple syrup, boy, them Canadians will have a revolution for maple syrup.
There was some other guy that I saw in the chat. If you're listening, please help me. He was saying, learn how to use a radio and get sufficient parts and whatnot.
Oh,
And
yeah,
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, that's he is into all that stuff too. Polarian.
Oh,
if you ever seen some of his videos, he does all that radio and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. There, if you don't know where to begin, I'm sure he can help you out. But I recommend joining a forum.
Yeah.
If there's something that you've always wanted to get into, the best place to go is the forums. They've been around they've been around since the internet. They were around a little bit before that, but of course, with the internet, they're bigger. But you want to learn how to do something, go find the forums and tell them you're new. They usually have an FAQ page. They usually have a couple of people that are specifically put in place to help out like the newbies and the first timers that that will answer all the questions. And I mean, when I'm not here, I spend pretty much all my free time. You've heard me say I don't watch movies or television or anything.
Right.
I spent all of my free time between a manosphere and forums.
Yeah, I don't watch too much TV anymore either. I'll either YouTube it or go on somebody else's. I'd rather get information than watch propaganda. But Primal Man, I think you're burnt out because that talking about that 70 AD for like 3-4 weeks in a row. That don't burn anybody out. But so, Uncle Gunny, what do you? I mean, just get a quick what you think. What do you think's going on in Ukraine, Russia?
Yeah, same thing I said before. I said it on Tony's show.
Oh, I didn't
This,
hear
you
it.
know, they'll get what they want. You know, Putin will go in. I'm sorry, the vodka president will go into the other region,
Mhm.
install his own regime, and then take over, and this whole thing will be over in a couple weeks.
Yeah, it's just like the only thing I don't understand is how a clown became president of Ukraine. The guy is actually a comedian.
Yeah, he's a comedian,
I mean, and he became president. It's like, should we put Jim Carrey as our next
right?
president?
I
I
mean,
mean,
it's elect Steve Martin or something.
yeah. I
Yeah, I
mean,
mean,
like, how do you respect that guy anyway?
I don't know, man.
He has to
I
be a
think
puppet.
look, you know me. I'm a massive skeptic. I don't like. I no longer enjoy talking about conspiracies, but I
Hmm.
know enough about the government, and I say that loosely. I know enough about the government to say this. You know, I know I know when they're touting a story, it's a distraction from something else. You know,
Yep.
maybe it's to get us away from the plague thing.
Hmm.
Maybe it's, you know,
With the money.
I think it's to make a little bit of money, because if you look at the if you look at the air travel and train travel and Christmas and all the, you know, the retailers and everything did not have a good holiday season, because people were out of work, and you know you know they were spending money on other stuff. You were talking about some stats earlier, and I'll throw some stats your way real quick. Is that there was more money in the last 3 years. There was more money spent on prawn was number one. It always is. Prawn was number one.
Who?
Uh, Adult spicy movies.
Oh, okay.
I respell it with the words
Oh, prawn. I got
prawn.
you. Okay, I got you. That's a new
Um,
one I learned. Go ahead.
yes, prawn. That's what a lot of guys in the manosphere call it.
Okay.
Spicy movies was number one. Number two, more this one kind of surprised me. Number two was sports betting, or
Wow.
all gambling shot up through the freaking roof. It was something like a 60 something percent increase since online gambling and whatnot was a thing. More people did it in the last 2 or 3 years than they ever have before. It shot up to number two,
Wow.
and
That's a good one to know.
number three was vacations, getaways. Number
Hmm.
four was high ticket luxury items, stuff like motorcycles and boats, and
Mm.
you know, high ticket luxury items.
Wow. So
I
people
would,
like want to live like the rich. That's what it is.
yeah.
Yep. People want to be rich.
Well, I mean, it's been, you know, the economy's been tanking, so the lenders pretty much have to give you, they have to give you 0%, half percent, or they can't give you any higher than 1 or 2% interest. So a lot of people have been taking advantage of that. You muted.
I said you're right. But you know what I've noticed too now? They're getting a lot stricter with a lot of things. Like I went for a checking account today, and it was like I almost thought they were going to ask for my fingerprints. Like they were like, okay, so we need your license and another form of ID. So I give them a credit card, license, and now they want bills for my house, utility bills. I mean, just to open up a checking account. I'm like, do you realize that to get that license, I had to show a utility bill where I live? So why are you asking for it? If the license, basically, you can't get a license without showing where you live. You need a
Yeah.
utility bill to get a license.
Yep.
So they're still asking for like and the guy even said to me, he said, yeah, like a month ago they didn't ask for. Now they're asking for more and more. It's like they want to know more about us, as they just want more and more information and more information. I see
I
this.
never for the past for the past. I'll say this. I know a good friend of mine who for the past 15, 20 years
Mhm.
has never used the actual place that he lives at.
Right.
He always uses a friend of his house.
Hmm.
And he gets the mail and everything sent there.
Yeah, I mean,
And
I've had times where I've done that, but now it's like they're getting. So I said to the guy in the bank, I said, okay, so let me ask you this. I said, so I want you to ask your supervisor. I live at this address, and I don't pay for any of the utilities. My sister does. So now what do you want to do? He couldn't answer me. I said, I have to have a utility bill to actually get a checking account. I mean, is this what you're telling me? And he was like, well, I don't know. He didn't have an answer for me. So then I go, well, I'll get you one anyway, because I know I could get at least my cell phone bill, even though you don't have to have it mailed to you. I'll just tell them I want paper, and I could get a cell phone bill. But I just found it strange that now all of a sudden I need more proof of, where I live or whatever, like to get a stupid checking account. I just think they're going to pretty soon ask for like a CAT scan of our eye or something. I mean, even to collect unemployment now, they want people to go through facial recognition. All right. So now you want to collect unemployment, and they put you on this machine, and it like through it takes a picture of your face because they want it. It's not about the unemployment. They want your facial recognition. Because I guess we're leading up to that part in society where they're going to have cameras everywhere, like they do in let's say China.
yeah, they've been doing that at the DMV for years. What do you think they do at the big corporate stores? At the big corporate stores that you go to, there's cameras and stuff. You think they're there
Right.
to stop theft? No, they figure stuff out about you, and they sell it to creditors. You got to understand that the bankers. I wish Tommy was here. The bankers and the credit card companies are that's what they do. They want to know more about you so they can market specifically to a certain demographic.
Yeah.
That's what
But
they want. They want to market to a certain demographic. So
my
in
friend
order to do that,
explained.
they collect
Yeah.
data on you, and not only that, once they collect that data, then they take that data and they sell it to other creditors. They
Right.
sell it to
Yeah.
they sell it to department stores and car dealerships. That's why you get strange stuff in the mail all the time.
Well, that's what Bill Gates did with Microsoft Windows. It was cheaper for him to give it away for free and sell all your data, because people don't realize every time you're doing something on your computer, it's getting monitored. Like when you're
Yeah,
going on, you go on Internet Explorer or
yeah.
Google, even if you put it in private settings, they still know what you're doing. They may tell you it's private, but they're still, they got a history of everything you do on your computer, everything. And no, what my friend told me though was a little different. He had to do a face recognition thing to get unemployment, but he said, Mike, the thing was scanning me like in the movies, like it was going. It was like a thing going up and down, doing his face. Like he had to put his face into like this, like thing, and it was doing it like, and it was taking like a facial recognition thing of him. It wasn't just like a picture or a camera. It was some
You
crazy shit.
you don't know. If I told you half the shit that some of the agencies that I've worked for made me give them, you'd shit a brick.
I even think they could tell facial recognition even with a mask on. I mean, they probably could zoom in on your eyeballs and tell
I,
who
I
you are.
can't I can't I can't comment on some. I
Yeah,
can't
you
I
can't
can't
reveal it, but it's
I
probably
can't, man. And
So that's a badass name, Caveman. Let's see what he's saying. Oh, he's saying it is possible to see some bigger names going down very soon. Well, from your mouth to God's ears, Primal, I don't see nobody going anywhere. They've been talking about all these people that are bad and doing all this stuff, and nobody's going to jail. So I think it's all hearsay. I think they do stuff to just entertain us and keep us at bay, keep us and distract us with other shit. I think sometimes when they bring up things, it's just to distract us. They don't want us to think about the economy's crashing. They want us to think about Russia and Ukraine. Recycled teddy bears for $10K a year. What? Mobile game.
Yeah, but radios, man. It's always a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, everybody should have a radio just in case the shit goes down where they pull the plug on the internet. At least you'll be able to hear what's going on a little bit,
Yeah.
I enjoy the radio. Like people, I don't know. Like I used to like going in my backyard, sitting by the pool after I went swimming a little while and just basically lounge out, almost fall asleep and listen to a baseball game on the radio.
Yeah, that was the best, wasn't it? Remember that?
It's so
Get
different.
a bag of peanuts and man.
You imagine the game better. Like I can't explain it. It's a different feeling.
No, my father did that. Even though he was watching, he would be watching football on the television. He would have an earpiece in with the radio, and he would be listening to the local, AM station that would be because he liked the broadcast. The old men are.
Broadcaster, yeah.
He liked the broadcast. Oh, I like Fred here. He's got a lot of good commentary.
I love John Madden when he used to do the games.
Madden was the best. Just absolute legend.
Right?
He's such,
Remember Howard Cosell?
Cosell was Madden was another Cosell. Cosell, zero fucks, just zero.
I like Cosell, but I liked even Madden better because Madden to me was like I liked his personality. He was just funny and he knew the game, man.
He loved the game
like Madden. I mean, he
loved the game.
Yeah. Actually, the guy from the Raiders they just got rid of, he was a good. I liked him, Gruden. Gruden was pretty good when he did his thing. I liked him.
Yeah, he left the coaching for a while and then went to commentating and then he went back to coaching.
Yeah. And
then they zapped him.
Yeah, they zapped him, man. I guess he didn't want to cooperate with something and they just zapped him. But that coach actually now this is supposedly the head coach of the Rams. They say they offered him $100 million to leave coaching and do announcing, and he turned it down. I can't believe that. That's kind of hard to do. I mean, coaching a football team, head coach, compared to an announcer, I think the announcer's life is a lot better. I mean, head coaching a football team, that's a lot of work. You don't sleep. I mean, these guys, you're just an announcer. You show up, you do your thing, and that's it. I think definitely a head coach of a football team is a stressful job. I tried coaching a little league team. It's stressful. Forget about coaching an NFL team. You got all these prima donnas making all this kind of money, and you got to get these guys to play.
Oh yeah, you got to deal with agents and. You gotta know everything that's going on. I mean, it's too hectic, too stressful.
I think that's what makes the difference between some head coaches in the NFL, especially going back a little bit, is if you can handle these high-paying personalities. Like Bill Parcells was good at handling Taylor. Lawrence Taylor was like he acted like Parcells was his dad. Like Parcells just treated his guys like he was their father. And they all listen, I think that's the key to being a great NFL coach. But now it may change. Now maybe you got to be more their friend than their father,
And who knows, man? I stopped watching all sports ball decades ago.
I don't watch the NFL. I don't even watch sports anymore. Once in a blue moon, I'll look at a reel or something, like just to keep myself familiar with what's going on in sports. But I really don't watch them. I'm kind of on strike. They got so political, all these sports now, and and they became like, they think they're movie stars now, and they don't play the game to play the game anymore. I don't like the big celebrations in the end zone where they act like idiots and they start doing all kinds of shit. Like, I'm not into all that.
Not only that,
plays the game.
Not only that, but one of the biggest reasons not a lot of people know this, so I might be shattering some people's minds right now. But one of the biggest reasons I stopped watching sports ball is that the sports teams are subsidized by your tax money. So whether
The
you
stadium.
watch the stadiums, the teams, the jets, the buses, all of that stuff it all comes from government money. Why do you think they say that they sing the anthem and and have the flyovers and stuff like that? It's all from they're taking your money. I'm like, I don't want you taking money out of, I don't want to pay taxes on stuff that I don't care about. I mean,
That's not important. Like, they make enough money; they should support themselves.
well, it's not only, yeah, I mean, it's that, but I mean, it's in the damn preamble, no taxation without representation. That's all there is to it.
That's correct. Well, that's and they love the NFL. It keeps people distracted.
Oh yeah.
You're
Yeah.
you're rooting for your team to win, right?
Yeah.
And you're kind of being enslaved by all these corporations, but you're rooting for your team to win. So when they win, you feel like you won something. What did you win?
Yeah.
You won nothing.
Exactly. And every hardcore diehard sports fan always says the same shit. Well, we are doing a great job out there. We have a really good team. We have a really tough defense, and then the Sunday comes around. Oh, well, how did your team do? Oh, we won. We did really good, and we scored a couple of. And it's always we. And then what happens? Season comes through. They didn't make the playoffs, and then what happens? Now all of a sudden it's different. What do they say? They lost.
Yeah.
They lost. Not we lost. The we all of a
Went
sudden
away.
is dropped from the entire conversation. Oh, well,
You're
they
not part
lost.
of them.
They're a bunch
You're
of
right.
bums. No.
Yeah, they keep you distracted with shit like this. They got it. They made it too important now.
Yeah.
In people's lives. Yeah, you're right.
I'm at one of my jobs right now. I don't have the figures on me. I got it written down in my house, but whenever I coach guys who are trying to get out of deep shit in their life,
Mm-hmm.
and the subject of sports ball comes up, I sit down and I do the math with them. I'm like, okay, I got this all written down. Some of this is from memory,
Yeah,
so
so how
forgive
many
me.
hours you waste a
Right,
day?
right. So you add up all the hours. I'm like, okay, if you're watching, you're watching probably 6 hours on Sunday. Okay, if you're watching 6 hours on Sunday, you're definitely probably watching 6 hours on Saturday for college, right? And maybe you're listening to one or two local high school games, and then you're probably watching right, you're probably watching Monday Night Football, and I think they have Thursday Night Football now.
Another 4 hours each, 3 hours each time.
So then you add it all up, that's like 15 hours a week.
They're like a part-time job, like 15,
right.
20 hours
So
a week.
if you work 15 hours a week, making just average $15 an hour, and you did that all around the year, and if you put just that money, into fill in the blank, you'd have this much money.
Right.
But they don't see that.
Nope.
They don't see that.
I can understand 1 day a week, totally taking off of everything and doing whatever the hell you feel like doing, like Sunday, let's say. We could all make money 7 days a week, but I think you need to rest yourself at least one
absolutely.
day. And I like 2 days actually, but at least 1 day a week, like say Sunday. So I can understand a guy watching football on Sunday if that's what he likes. But when you start watching a Monday and Thursday, and then you're watching Saturday, all the college games, and you add that all up, that's a lot of time that you could have been making money, like you said.
Well, that's why I promote people do what I do. That's why I promote people get a main job, and then they get 1, 2, or 3 part-time jobs that aren't really hard work, that
Yeah.
are making money. You're making money for doing practically nothing. Like right now tonight, I'm uh I'm I'm making and packaging T-shirts. I have a buddy of mine that he does T-shirts,
Hmm.
and I help him make them and fold them, and they sell them, and not really sell them, but um, what do you call it? Process them. You put the ink on them, and they
Yeah.
got to dry out and cure and all that stuff, and then package them up, put them in, put a label on it, and then at the end of
Ship
the
'em
night,
out.
we drive them to the post office hub, the big one, and then we drop them all off. And so I mean, it's like barely working. It's so I get to do stuff like be on the stream with you or Tony or Primal or whoever. 90% of the time that you guys hear me on stream late at night, I'm working. I'm I'm doing a job that requires barely enough work, and I can do 2 things at once. It's
That's great.
amazing. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, because you don't feel like you're missing out. You actually, you're hanging out, talking to your friends or whatever, and you're
Right,
working, making paid.
right.
I agree. But we all have to find a niche like that. They're out there. You just got to look for them. Once you have a real job, then you could just pick and choose your part-time jobs, and then once you have 2, 3 part-time jobs, if you get a problem with your real job,
Yep,
you got a backup plan. Plus, then you could go start looking for another full-time job, but you still got money coming in.
yep.
So it's always good to have all your eggs in different baskets.
Well, it's like this. I mean, you've heard me say this before, and again, I'll repeat it because I love it. But if you stack, pack, and rack as much work as you can get your hands on, even 7 days a week, 14, 16 hours, sometimes 20-hour days if you have to, do that. you know Priority 1, get out of debt. Priority 2, start building up what I've referred to as an unfuckwithable life. Once you get at least a year. Okay, once you put aside enough money where you could say, okay, I could not work and still pay my rent and bills and food, everything, insurance, everything. Once you get that money and you have it in the bank to cover yourself for at least a year, then you can drop down to maybe 1 job, or maybe you can drop down to working 6 days a week, but until then, yeah, I mean, the
I've
being
been on that.
untouchable is the best feeling in the world. It's
I've
the
been on
best.
both sides of that coin, so I could agree 100%. Like I've been a point in my life, I've been on a roller coaster, right? So I've been to the point where when I took a job, all right, if I had to leave that job, I had to get a job right away, like within a month, because I had bills I had to keep covering, and it was stressful because you had to put up with shit at work because you knew you didn't want to go through that again. But there was, that's what happened to me a couple times. But then I've been on the opposite side where I had, a year, 2 years worth of bills in the bank, and now you're going to work with like a fuck you attitude. Like, you'll still work and do your job, but you don't have to take shit no more because you can leave and you could push the boss to the limit to see, like you could call his bluff sometimes because, some jobs you get, these bosses try to abuse you because they think you're scared of
Yeah.
losing your job. And when
Yep.
they know you're not scared of losing your job, they leave you the fuck alone.
Yeah.
And when you call their bluff, that's when you're in power now. So it always pays to have that kind of money. And once you got, like you said, unfuckable money in the bank to cover you, you go to work with a whole different mindset. Like you're more happy to even be there because if this guy
Yeah.
fucks with you, you can walk out that door. And
I
that's
I
really the way it
I
should
know a
be.
couple of guys. I know a couple of guys that, and I'm if I wish I had spent the last couple of years doing this, but I know a couple of guys who do exactly what I do, only they do it way better and they basically they stack certificates. What they call stacking paper, and I don't mean money. They make themselves like super valuable. Like they'll go out and they'll get a double bachelor's. They'll go out and get a bachelor's and a master's. They'll get, and then they'll stack certificates on top of that. They'll go to a community college and they'll get, a certificate on Apple computers, Windows computers, different marketing certificates. They'll attend 2 or 3 boot camps or conferences per year, whether it's like a 4 or 5 day workshop, and at the end you get a certificate, and it might be like an $800 workshop it'll cost you, but now you got companies fighting over you, because these guys, that's exactly what these guys do. They got companies fighting over them. Oh, you don't want to give me, you're not going to give me, you can't give me a raise this year. Okay, well, I gotta go. I mean,
Yeah.
I'll have a job tomorrow. They're constantly getting, their inbox is, they're constantly negotiating with their competitors and other companies within the industry that will, hey, we'll fly you out, and we'll give you full, we'll cover your medical and dental and vision, and we'll give you a company car. I mean, they find companies where the companies that hire them, where the company just sweetens the deal as much as they can get it.
Yeah.
Oh, we know a realtor, we're partnered with a realtor. We'll get you a discount on a house in a really great neighborhood, and, company car, and,
You know what I used to do too? Now, I wasn't in the league of these guys. That's a good thing though. Stack certificates. I like that. But I used to get jobs, and, I was, when I always worked for myself. But when I got back from the Dominican Republic, I didn't want to open up my own business anymore, because I was so burnt out from doing it for like 30 years that I said, you know what? I want to work for somebody, which I shouldn't have done, and throw the keys at them. But anyway, I used to go get a job, and they hire me, and I'd be making decent money. And I don't know, out of nowhere, you would feel a little weird, like with the job now. All of a sudden, like, things change, and, the bosses are treating you a little. I start looking for a job while I'm working on their computer.
Oh, yeah.
I start pumping out resumes, and I'm going for job interviews. By the time they were even ready to fire me, I already had another job lined up, and I would be like quitting anyway and going to the other job. They'd be like caught off guard, because I'm not going to wait for you to fire me. I'm going to actually find a job on your fucking time.
Yeah.
I used to be on the computer, and I'm on like all these different websites getting a job, and they were like, they didn't know. I'm like, that you got to do it. You got to
calling out sick 3 or 4 days in a row because you're not really interviews. Sick. You're at the other jobs. You're at the other jobs training.
The best was, I worked for a car dealer. I'll make it a quick story. So they were having a Christmas party, and I didn't want to go because I knew I was leaving. I already had the other job. I was going. I was starting work in January, and it was December. So I kept telling my boss I don't want to go, and they were like, "Well, why?" And I can't tell them I'm leaving, right? Because I felt like I didn't want to do that. So I said, "Well, I don't feel like going out and spending $500 on a suit." I says, because I really don't got a nice suit that fits me. I says, and I don't feel like spending the money. And I was really leaving this job for a couple of reasons, but one reason was we used to sell, the window edging. You get the VIN number put in it.
Oh yeah.
So we used to sell that, right? And we would get like the salesman would get like $25 or $50. I think it was $50 for every one of them we sold, and almost every single car I sold, I was. It was in the contract practically. Unless you caught it, you were getting it, right? And they would charge the people like $150 to get this window edging, which lowers your insurance a couple of dollars, nothing big, right? So I was there at this one Ford dealership for 10 months. I wasn't there a year. And at the Christmas time, everybody gets that money. So I sold, let's say, in 10 months, 150, 200 cars. So now we're talking $50, let's say, times 200. We're talking about a lot of money here. We're talking about what are we talking about? 200 times $50, right? So they don't give it to me. I go, what the fuck? I said, I sold. Oh, well, you got to be here a year before you could start collecting that. I said, so the whole 10 months I get beat up? They were like, yeah, that's the way. Okay. So right there, fucking pissed me off. Boom. I started looking for, I had the other jobs I was looking, but then I got on the phone and I made the phone call.
Oh, yeah.
So now the Christmas party comes. This is the fucked up part, but I didn't give a shit. The boss comes back to me and goes, the owner said he'll buy you a suit to go to the Christmas party. So now I'm caught on the spot, right? I told him I didn't tell him I was leaving yet. And the reason why I didn't tell him I was leaving was if you leave, they bang you with your commissions. Like they rape you with your last few sales. So they get mad. They do this shit to you. So my last week or two, I really didn't sell anything because I didn't want to leave with them owing me money and then they're going to screw me. So I went and I bought a suit, $450, right? Gave them the bill. They gave me the money. I went to the Christmas party, and 2 weeks later, I left, and they were tight. The owner was tight. The whole place, they were tight. And I was like, well, you fucking guys kept forcing me to go. I says, and you know what? Tell the owner to take the $450 out of the $2,000 he fucking owes me from the window edging. That you didn't give me my commission because you gave me some bullshit. I'm only here 10 months. If you wanted to keep me, you would have gave it to me. I said, obviously, you didn't give a shit. So I'm out. They went, oh, we would have gave it to you if you would have told us that. I was like, well, it's too late, man. What do you want me to beg for my own money?
No, car dealerships are weird, man. It's a weird business.
Yeah, I worked for 2 different car dealerships and I stopped working for those. I was always in sales. Then I worked for furniture companies. That was a little better. But being in sales sucks anyway because you always got to produce. But I always wanted to sell cars though for some reason. When I was a little kid, I just wanted to try it. And it's not an easy thing because it's a good job. It's just that they abuse you, paying you. Car salesmen get the shit ass end of the stick in any dealership.
They do.
The mechanics are making crazy money in the shop. Crazy money those guys make because they're union. The guys that make the cars, the union, they're making great money. The owner's making great money. Even the managers are making real good money. But the salesmen, those are the guys they shit on. And they promise them all this stuff. And they're always cheating their salesmen out of their commissions because you're supposed to get a percentage if you sell the car above the tissue price. I worked for, then I went to, this was the one, I went to work for a company selling commercial trucks, like dump trucks, forklifts. I said, wow, this is big money ticket, big ticket money. These big trucks, they're 50, 100 grand. So I'm selling these things and they're paying me good commissions in the beginning. I mean, I'm selling one truck, making $2 grand, 2,500, 1,500. So I'm kicking. So I'm doing good in the beginning, I'm selling a couple of trucks a week. I'm making 3,000, 4,000. I'm kicking ass. Then all of a sudden, the commissions start becoming flats, they call them. So they pay you a certain amount, like $200. So I go, well, what happened with all these other trucks I sold? For the last, everything is a flat. I says, it's impossible. I'm making money on these. I'm holding ticket. No, all the repairs. They give me all this bullshit. So here's how I caught them now. So I took a trade-in for 15 grand, let's say. And I sold that trade-in for 30. So now they're trying to tell me they broke, they didn't make no money. I go, what are you talking about? I'm the one who fucking took the trade-in. I know what we paid for it. What, did you put 15 grand into the truck? There was nothing wrong with it. So they didn't know what to say. They cheated me. So I just left there, Actually, I made them fire me. I forced them to fire me almost.
Yeah.
So I could collect unemployment. I forced them. I wasn't working. I was on strike, almost an activity strike. And it got to the point that they were getting annoyed because they wanted me to quit. And I'm not quitting. You fucking fire me. So then, finally, I had the manager who was my friend. I said, tell the owner if he has any balls They'll fire me because he's an asshole. I says, I'm not going to sit here and walk out and then I can't collect unemployment because you guys are forcing me. That's the problem with a lot of this unemployment shit. I never collected unemployment in my life, only once. But to collect unemployment, you got to be fired. But what if your boss is abusing you to the point where they're basically forcing you to leave? That don't count. You know, you got unemployment. No, you left. Well, maybe I left because I was getting treated like I was a piece of dirt in the street, you know, but that don't count, you know. So
Nope.
That's what these employers do now. They try to make you quit. I worked for a furniture company, was even one better. They would write you up for anything. Like if you got written up 3 times, they could fire you. But by you getting written up, they would try to make you sign papers like agreeing to you did this and you were wrong. You went against company policy.
Nope.
So when they tried to do that shit with me, I said, I'm not signing that. They go, what do you mean? I'm not fucking signing it. Well, why? Because I know why. Because when you fire me, you're going to use that. So when I go to collect unemployment, you're going to say I broke company policy, so you don't have to pay my unemployment. I know the game, because that's what they do now. So they don't have to. They're so concerned more about paying unemployment than anything else now. These companies, they don't want to pay unemployment.
Yeah,
they want to fire you without paying the unemployment, because they have to pay a percentage of the unemployment when they fire you.
Oh yeah, company pays that.
Yeah, like they have to pay, let's say 30% of it, or whatever the case is. They have to lay out money, and they don't want to do it. But they rather just abuse the shit out of you and force you to leave, but write you up with all this bullshit. These company. The first time they told me to sign it, I said, I'm not signing it. He says, well, we're going to have to let you go. I said, then let me go, but I'm not signing it.
Yep. They start a paper trail on your ass.
Yeah, and then, they couldn't do it. They couldn't fire me because they knew if they fired me, I was going to collect.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that's how a lot of industries work. They'll hire you on. They hire you on, and what they do is they in the interview they kind of determine like how bad you need the job, how bad you're looking for the job.
Yeah.
So they'll put you in a training class, and the training pay is never the pay that you're gonna get like when you actually get the job. The training pay is usually less than your actual pay.
Right. And
usually if it's a halfway decent company, they'll give you a lower pay until either a 90 or 120 day, grace period, or a performance period or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So, they'll pay you a training. You attend training, and then you have to wait on your training paycheck for your training pay. Oh, well, first they make you wait for the training class. Well,
right.
Training classes, it starts next Monday.
Right.
Okay, cool. Oh, well, something happened to the training class. It's not going to be next Monday. It's going to be the Monday after. So now you're not working. Now you're kind of you're pinching pennies, and you're pinching,
destitute.
Right, you're pinching pennies. You're eating soup, and you're just waiting for this training class, and then the training class comes along, and you go to training. Okay, cool, and then they tell you, well, we can't start the training class maybe a week, and then they tell you, well, we can't get your uniforms or your badge or whatever until the following Monday. So you got to take this week off, but go ahead and come in the Monday after. So now you came in looking for a job. They make you 2 weeks to go to training. Okay. Then you go to training, and then they make you another week. They make you wait another week before you actually start working. Then it's going to be at least 2-3 weeks before you actually get your first paycheck.
Right.
So that's how companies get people to stay, because they put you behind the eight ball. They put you behind the eight ball, and that's why, like you said, the managers treat people like crap to see who puts up with it, to see how much people will put up with, because they know you have to. They know you'll do as you're told, and they try to scare people into not only performing but overperforming to go
Right.
out of their way. Hey, we got a stack of applications, and you don't want to work here. We got a stack of applications of people that'll be love to, that would love to take your position if you don't want it. And they,
You
like
got
you
to
said, they
produce. They
right,
don't care.
they scare people, and they put you a month, and they put you a month and a half. So now you're a month and a half.
In the hole.
You're 3 weeks, you're 3 to 5 weeks behind on renting bills.
Yep.
And that's how a lot of companies operate, and not a lot of people know that.
And you know what they start doing? The car business is the worst, because they give you a base pay every week because they have to by law.
Right.
They have to pay you for 40 hours, whatever the minimum wage is. Say the minimum wage is $15 an hour. Let's just,
Right.
It ain't even that. Let's say $12.50. So
Right.
you get a $500 check every week. But at the end of the month, whatever your commissions were, they match against that whole month's worth of paychecks they gave you. So if you made $2,000, they paid you $500 a week. You only made $2,000. But what happens is, so 2 weeks you didn't make a sale. Now you got 2 weeks. Before they did this rule, there were guys going 2 weeks without pay. They didn't care. And you'd be like, well, and even $500 is shit. So if you don't make money, and then they take it all back anyway. Like, when does the line draw? Like, so if the company don't make money for 2 weeks, you don't make money. Then when the company's making money, you make money, but you got to pay back the money that they gave you. They didn't even make money. Like, that's bullshit. Like, that $500 you give me, you shouldn't be able to take it back off my commissions, but that's the way they play the game now. So when they're not making money, you don't make money. It's like everything's against you in sales. It's crazy what they do to employees today. You know what? I got to the point, I'm not kidding. I got to the point with a few managers that I would literally wait for them in the parking lot. I didn't care if I got fired. And I would go up to them and say, look, here's the deal. I don't care if I get fired, but I'm going to tell you right now, the next fucking time you talk to me like that, me and you are going to do it right here in the parking lot. So you could go in tomorrow and try to get me fired, but I will wait for you and kick your fucking ass when you get out of work. And I don't care. And they'd be like, not one manager ever went and ratted me out. These are the guys that were punks, that were really like punk kids abusing you. Like, look, I could take abuse up to a point. I mean, it's a job. You got to put up with some shit.
Oh, yeah.
But when you're getting personal with me and you start calling me fucking names that you're not, that's the line. Like, that's it. And I even did that with other workers that would try to abuse you when you got in there, because they're jealous. You're making money. They're not. It's fucked up the whole way it works now. In the bit, people are like rats. Everybody's ratting everybody. It's crazy. You work for a company. People are going in there. Oh, he took a break. He went outside and had a cigarette. Like, what are you, like little fucking kids?
Daddy, give me a head pat and a tummy rub because I did good. The whole of America. The whole of America has become a fink cult. What they call a rat fink. Like you said, a rat. You're a fink. They make you believe. They make you believe by if you rat on your coworkers that's gonna that's we don't have eyes everywhere. We might be looking for management soon. It's a big factor in promotability.
Here's the best one. I work for this company, Bob's Furniture. So there's a 30 salesmen in the store, 30, a big store, busy store. They have a mattress contest. They come in, the district manager comes in and tells us, listen, we're going to have a mattress contest. Whoever sells the most mattresses in value, money, we're not talking about like just if you sold 10 mattresses at $200, but I sold
Right,
5
right,
at
right, right.
whoever sells the most money on mattresses and bed protectors wins any mattress they want in the store. So, I mean, we had mattresses that were like $2,000, right? So I'm like, wow,
Right.
I really need a new mattress. I'm winning this fucking thing. I'm going all out. I bust my ass and I win it. It's a month competition. Like we're talking like I sold like $15,000 worth of mattresses, right? So I win the contest. You know what they fucking do? They say, oh, well, the store didn't perform on the, because there's like this, they had like 100 stores, but they only had about 50 at the time in Jersey. The store didn't perform equal to the other stores in money. Like it was based upon the rest of the people had to sell a lot more, like to average out like against the other stores. So I didn't win the mattress. So I go, wait a minute. I sold all those mattresses. You didn't tell me that, because if you told me that, I probably wouldn't even have bothered. Now you're telling me when I won, you don't want to give me the mattress that I'm supposed to get. And it was based because the other, my store that I was in didn't perform as good as the other stores, like on an average. This is the fucking games they play. They didn't even want to. They didn't even give me the mattress that I won. This is how fucked up, you know. And then they would make us sell people this fucking protection shit that didn't work. It never worked. Everybody was getting robbed, and I have to sell people shit that's not even real, like this goof-proof bullshit. You know, if your furniture gets damaged, and when you put in a claim, you gotta like pull teeth to get any money out of the companies. That these third-party companies, you never buy them like any of those insurances. The only time I buy a policy on something is if it's like Best Buy, right? They have third policies and then they have like regular. So like I buy these headphones, and they go, "You want to buy insurance on them?" I go, "Well, let me ask you something. If they break, can I bring it back here and you give me a new pair here in the store?" They go, "Yes." Boom, I buy that because I know these headphones are going to break within 3 years. I do it all the time. And I go to Best Buy, I bring the headphone with the receipt. Boom, they give me a new pair. Great. It's a done deal. But then they have third-party insurance. Like I bought a computer at Best Buy. This was before I learned. And they said if your computer was a laptop, it was going back, though, 10 years ago. And it was a gaming laptop. It was like $2,000. So they said, well, if it gets stolen or broken or anything, you're covered, you know, all this shit. So I bought it because I was traveling a lot to the DR. I didn't live there yet. So I said, if somebody robs it, like in the DR, I could get my money. So my son had a party at the house, and somebody that was at the party took my computer. So I went in, I put the claim in with the police department. You have to get a thing. Called the company up. They said, okay, send us the report. I go, well, I live in New York. I can give you the claim number, but I can't get the report. They don't give the reports to people. You have to call with the claim number, and they'll mail you the report. They go, no, that's not what we do. I go, well, what do you want me to do? Now, I knew I had a backup plan, but I go, if the law says I can't go into the police station and get a copy of the report, but you can with the claim number, then what's the fucking problem? No, that's not how we do our policy here. So now they're trying to, you know, they know that I can't get the report, but they didn't know I could. So I go in and I get one of the girls that work in the station. They call them PAs. And I go, listen, you know, I show them my ID. I was a cop, this and that. I say, could you do me a favor? Go in the microfilm and pull this report out for me and print it. She goes, oh, yeah, all right. Boom. She goes, she prints it out for me. I mail them the report, certified mail. Make sure they had a sign off on it and everything. They get the report. I call them up. They confirm, yeah, we got the report. We're looking into it. This went on for about 6 months, back and forth, calling. Yeah, we're still looking into it. What are you looking into? They didn't pay me. I went to Best Buy. I gave them hell. I called corporate Best Buy. I gave them hell. No matter what I did, I didn't get paid. And I did everything. I had the reports. I had everything. This is what you deal with these third-party insurance things. Never buy a third party. Never.
Insurance is the biggest scam ever invented.
Yeah, because the insurance companies, they don't want to pay. They do anything they can not to pay you.
Well, it's like this. It's I'm going to pay money into something, and then I'm going to pay money into something that's supposed to protect me if I have to use it. But
Right.
then if I only use it once every, I don't know, 5 years, let's say, you add up the premium. So basically, it's like if I have to use it, then I have to pay a premium on top of the monthly payments,
Mm-hmm.
and then especially I'm talking about health insurance, and then I got to copay the people I'm supposed to go see, and then when I get done with all that, you're gonna raise my monthly payments for
Right.
using what I was supposed to use that the law says I'm supposed to have. So I mean,
And a
and it's a
lot of the
scam.
and a lot of the times you take the insurance, say on a computer monitor, they'll give you 3 years, but the monitor usually don't break in the first 3 years, and you get a manufacturer's warranty for the first year anyway. If anything
Right.
usually goes wrong, it's within the first 30 days usually.
Yeah.
And you buy something at Best Buy, it breaks within 30 days. You can bring it back with no problem. And if not, you get a year. But after the year goes by, usually you're never going to have a problem until after that third year. They got it figured out that, that computer monitor is going to break 5 years down the road. So they'll insure you for the first 3.
And that's why one of the reasons I miss your favorite company and mine, I miss Sears Roebuck, because you could go to Sears and
They took anything back.
not only that, but when they sold you a warranty, number one, it was the manufacturer's warranty would be like 3 to 5 years. Then you could purchase this is the only time I purchase an extended warranty on
They would come
anything,
fix it.
is when the company who is selling you the extended warranty tells you straight up, it tells you on the piece of paper that this warranty kicks in after the manufacturer's warranty runs out.
Right.
So if the manufacturer's warranty is 3 to 5 years and you buy another 5-year warranty, you got 10 years for $40.
Right.
You got 10 years for $40, and
The best warranty, though, I ever heard of, though. This is the greatest warranty. They don't do it anymore. Jeep. You used to be able to buy a lifetime warranty because I guess they were trying to sell Jeeps. Jeeps, Jeep Cherokee, a lifetime warranty on the vehicle. Everything, fully, everything. Anything goes wrong with it, lifetime. They were getting their ass kicked with it, but they were doing it to get their product, I guess, out there. I don't know why they were doing it, but they did this for many years. People were going there buying, like, the Jeep Wranglers. They're expensive to fix. Yep. So people were taking lifetime warranties, and those things last forever. Like, you could put 150,000 miles on. People had them 10 years old. They're bringing them in. Like, anything went wrong with it, computer chip, whatever. That was probably the best warranty I have ever seen. I've never seen anything else like that.
The best top flight customer service warranties that I've ever heard of. I mean, I've heard of a few, but one that comes to mind is Rolls-Royce.
That's got to be lifetime.
Yeah, every Rolls-Royce story that I've ever heard of is sorry, sir, we apologize. We'll take care of it. Here's a rental car. We'd appreciate it if you don't tell anybody about this.
Lexus used to be like that at one
point.
Yep. I had a friend, he bought a Lexus, his engine blew up. He brought it in. They didn't know what to do for him. They gave him a new car practically to use as a loaner. And this is how crazy Lexus was at the beginning. They flew in an engineer from Japan to figure out what went wrong with that engine. They couldn't figure it out. Like, they were like, this is unheard of. The engine just fucking blew up. But no, there are companies like that. Not too many, but there was a real high, Range Rovers kind of like that. Rolls Royce, how much money you spending on a Rolls Royce? They better kiss your ass a little bit.
Right.
But I tell you, the Best Buy warranty, when you're buying something cheap, like these headphones, right? They have a mic in it too. I don't even use. They were like $100, and they're made real well. You got to look at the wire too. It's got to be like, and the frame is made out of like steel, right? Because I used to go through headphones, so they were about $100, and the warranty was like $12 for 3 years. They're so good that I could bring these back, nothing wrong with them, in 2.5 years, and just hand it. See, yeah, they're not working right. The sound ain't coming out right. They don't even inspect nothing. And they give you a new set, and that's it. That's how good they were. But it's got to be the warranty where you can bring it back to them.
Yep.
See, if you can't bring it back to them, it's worthless to me.
Yep.
Because if I got to go making phone calls and fill out fucking police reports and all this bullshit, I ain't getting paid. That's my, logic.
Yeah.
To me, that's the only warranties I take. And 99% of the time when you ask them that question, they go, no, it's a third party. I go, no, thank you. I don't give a shit about your bullshit, But yeah, there's ways to beat around the bush. If you fight hard enough on some of these third-party warranties, they will pay you, but it's not even worth the time you got to spend to get paid.
That's why I'm trying to return to. Well, I'm trying to return to ancient technology.
I just don't take the warranty. TVs like, right? You go buy a 50-inch TV now for like $300. If it blows up after a couple of years, I'll just go buy a new one. I mean,
right.
Who gives a shit? People now, they know the TVs are made to, after like 3-4 years, they're made to go. Especially the ones made with that gas in it. I forgot what they call it. But they put this like gas in them.
TVs?
It's a certain type of TV that they use like a gas inside of it.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about. I can't remember.
Yeah, they're made to break. They're just made, just like cars. They don't make cars the last 20 years anymore. They make a car I've noticed after about 60,000 miles, most cars are break.
No, you've heard me speak of this.
Oh,
that's what we always talk about. We always talk about the 1940s, 1950s. Somewhere in the 60s, because of the 50s, Detroit and everybody else, they figured out that they made things that lasted.
Right.
They made stuff last because it had to. That was the company's reputation. That was a company's reputation of they didn't want any kind of bad press.
Right.
If this is back in the day, if we're for those of you listening, to this podcast now and forever, on the news didn't always have television commercials. It didn't always have advertisements. And the news used to be the shit, because if you made the news, that means you fucked up like hardcore. like you did something bad. So you didn't want to make the news by having your company be bad. So people made durable goods is what they referred to. They made stuff last. So once they figured out, once they started doing, data collection on the consumer, oh, well, everybody gets a raise, every year, and they get enough of a raise that they can afford to buy, turns out the average American was buying a new car every 5 to 6 years. So guess what? They started making a car that would last 6 or 7 years. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the belt they put around. What's that belt called?
The fan belt, timing belt?
The timing belt. The ones made out of steel, they last like 10 years. The ones made out of rubber last like 5. And it's expensive to change that fucking timing belt, man. You're going to pull the whole engine out. My friends, they're all mechanics. They go, we can't figure out sometimes why they put shit where they put it. Yeah. Because it doesn't make any sense. You got to pull the whole engine out to get it. They do it on purpose. They want it to be expensive for you to fix. They do a lot of shit that we don't realize on purpose. It's funny though. Like the light bulb. The light bulb, realistically, they can make light bulbs that can last forever, but they don't want that.
No,
they want a light bulb to burn out.
The first 3 light bulbs that what's his name?
Thomas Edison.
Yeah, Edison. The first 3 light bulbs that he made are still operating in the Smithsonian. They still work.
How crazy is that? Yeah, and they're telling us they got to make these other ones energy conservation. You know, all this bullshit they give
Yeah.
us.
That's
Yeah,
why
well,
I'm
business.
returning to old technology, you know. Oh, hey, uh, do I need electricity to read or cook? No, I got a fireplace made out of stone.
It
You know?
almost pays to have a car that doesn't have any computer chips in it. Because if they hit you with an EMF pulse, you'll be the only guy on the block with a moving vehicle.
I know people that do that. They buy pre 1983 cars because
Mm-hmm.
it's got the coil instead of the starter. It's got the
Mm-hmm.
starter coil instead of the
Right,
actual electric starter,
right.
and it doesn't have any chips or anything in it.
Yeah. So
That's a whole thing.
you
That's a
know
whole
where I,
thing.
you know where I got that idea from though. I was watching. You ever see Water Worlds with Tom Cruise?
Yeah,
Yeah. So they're invading, right? These fucking alien machines are breaking, destroying them, and nobody can get away because their cars didn't work. They hit him with like an EMF. But this one guy had this like old like Mustang or some shit, and he jumps in there, boom, took off, and he was the only car on the block. It was funny. I was laughing. If you watch the movie, like it makes you see, hey, you know what? That's a good idea. Because you don't know, man. They hit us with an EMF pulse or some shit. Your car don't start. You got no way to go. you,
yeah,
you better off with one of those old cars. You know, just like the planes too. You know, I think they have stuff now. Like, think about it. If you hit a plane with like a pulse, you could shut the whole computer down in the plane, right? So you're in a fighter jet. I mean, I'm sure they got some kind of protection where this can't happen.
yeah.
But
There's shielding.
yeah,
You can make or buy shielding.
right. So they must shield them because could you imagine? I mean, like only the old planes will work. You see them like flying like World War II planes with propellers and shit going to fight
Yeah,
aliens.
I
You know?
mean, like I said, I'm returning to ancient technology.
Yeah.
I'm 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 refurbishing the house that I live in currently, and I'm trying to make it to where I'm going to install a fireplace, and
Yep.
then I'm going to put a small wood burning stove in each room,
Yeah.
because you could cook and you could warm the room with that, you
Yep.
know.
My son has one and he heats his whole house with it and they
Yeah.
cook on it.
Yep.
And even maybe get yourself some kerosene lanterns or something because you never know. I mean, or get some generator. You got to have something. You got to be prepared.
Oh
Because,
yeah.
but you really don't. You can live with, and realistically, though, you can live without electric, but you need heat if you live in an area where you need heat. I
Oh,
mean,
definitely.
you could wake up in the day, there's light coming in through the windows, and at night you go to bed like people used to do anyway. And just have candles or whatever you need at night if you had to walk around or whatever. But you can't live without heat, man. I don't care how. I mean, my son's house is really insulated well. He overkilled it with insulation, and it's still, when it's cold, you still need heat in the house. It
Oh
gets
yeah.
cold,
Yeah. I mean, that's
That's
what
the wood
people
stove.
did before electricity. They spent the entire warm months preparing for the cold months, and that included chopping wood every day in the sweltering heat, and they would stack up wood in different piles, so it could dry out and season, as they call it, seasoned wood. It would have to dry out and cure, so it wouldn't create a ton of smoke and clog up the chimney, the chimney
Yep.
flue. And I mean, they knew they weren't, that's what I'm trying to return to now. It's like less dependence on stuff.
I think the people that are prepared the best, other than they're not armed. See, I think they need guns though,
The
because
Amish.
is the Amish. I mean,
Yeah,
they're ready.
I've known several I've known several Mennonites and Amish people throughout the years, and that's where I'm getting all this from. Is like these people have not only survived, but they've freaking thrived without anything.
Right.
Anything. They don't even wear freaking belts. They don't even use buttons.
They don't have
wear,
belts.
yeah,
I noticed that.
They don't wear buttons on their clothes. No buttons.
Nope.
Buttons. Okay, that's how serious they need to take that shit.
I think I've seen
you
them with a
you
rope
see the
for a
movies
belt.
and the television shows where the whole town gets together and the women wash clothes and they make lemonade and they hand they hand children tools and whatnot, and the men get together and build a freaking barn. That's all hand tools. They cut down the wood, turn the trees into lumber, into planks. You know what I'm saying? That's all done by hand. There's no machinery. There's no. It's all horses and carrots.
And they do it.
There's no electricity. There's no power tools. It's all done by hand. It's amazing.
And they'll build that barn in like a day or two. Boom. Up.
Yeah.
They don't play around.
Yeah. And then they get done with the barn, then they paint the whole thing, and then the whole town has a big feast at the barn. They bring their best food, and it's usually it's for, when they build a barn, it's usually because either the old one's busted, or it's usually for like the brand new ones is usually for a young married couple. The Smiths are, getting married. What a lovely young couple. And the whole town comes together, and it's just one big party, and it lasts like 6 months. It's great.
You really think about it. Who's living a better life?
Right.
They're living maybe the dream, not us.
Right.
What do we got? We got Netflix. They got parties. They got parties going on, and we're watching Netflix, People need people. People don't get it yet. It's way better to go to. I would rather have that type of life. Like I'm at a party all night at a barn than watching a stupid movie on Netflix. But people don't see it that way. I guess they laugh at those people. Even like they're riding around in their horse and buggy. I really wish I could have a horse. I don't want a fucking car. I want a horse. I like horses. I would love to have a horse. It'd be awesome. But people rather have a car. I don't know. I wish we could go back a little bit,
Prairie, I've seen that rocket heater. It's crazy.
Oh, the rocket heaters work real good.
Yeah.
You use a lot less wood too.
Yep.
My son was going to build one of them actually. But
Yeah,
he didn't. You could build them there, but the rocket heaters work real good. They even there's people that are so good with like the rocket. They put pipes throughout their whole house. They heat up their floor. You could do all kinds of shit.
Yeah.
You're good, Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to do right now.
You can have you can build yourself like a rock jacuzzi and put hot water in there, like all that shit you could do. There's a lot of stuff you could do. But you got to be handy, a little bit. I think people, though, we really need to start, like you said, we got to start going to farms and learning how to farm. I mean, there are tricks. I think we got to start going back to that. I mean, we need to.
You got to.
Our own shit.
The first thing I recommend everybody do, I mean, other than what I said before about building yourself a bulletproof life, you've got start with your neighbors on all sides. Start with the people behind you, across from you, and next to you. Hey, how you doing? My name's so and so. Nice to meet you. I live across the street here. Just wanted to stop and say hi. Say something. I really like your house. It's such a lovely color. I just thought I'd come over here and introduce myself. And then what I always recommend to everybody, once a month, contact your neighborhood. Go sit out on your neighborhood. Go sit out. Put a sign out on your yard or something, and then it reads, if you don't have a neighborhood association or something like that, call your local police department or put a sign on your front yard saying, neighborhood watch, please leave contact information. Put your contact information in my mailbox. Okay. And then just wait. Contact your local neighborhood watch and go volunteer with them 1 or 2 nights a week. Just walking. Number one, you're getting fitness in. Number two, you're learning your neighborhood. And number three, you're learning who your neighbors and people are. You got to talk to people. You've got to forget this. If you want to take it so far as like going to like city council and all that craziness, no, you've got to talk to people that that live in your area, because you might you might find you're probably going to find a lot of commonalities. You probably find a lot of commonalities. You probably find a lot of like-minded people, and uh, you don't want to wait until a hurricane or a blizzard or a tornado or disaster to meet these people, when either you or they most desperately need help. You don't want to wait. You want to get to know as many. This is what made our country strong back in the day, huh, Pops? We've all heard those stories. Your folks used to tell the same stories that my folks told. There was a time in America where you could leave your car doors unlocked, you could leave your front door open of your house open overnight and nothing would happen.
When I was a kid, and I'm not lying, I left my bicycle on my front lawn.
Yeah.
Not chained up, nothing. Nobody ever stole it.
Yeah.
That's when I was a kid. But, as 5 years later, you had to start locking. Things started to change quickly. But I probably was at the tail end of when you could leave your front door. My parents in Brooklyn never locked the door. That's when I was real little. But Brooklyn was amazing. I mean, you're talking about nobody really had a lawn. It was all kind of, but came Saturday and Sunday, every single person almost on that whole block was outside with 2 beach chairs, sitting down, and it was like a block party. All the kids were playing. The people were all walking around talking to each other.
Everybody knew everybody.
We didn't need Netflix. We had it live. We had reality there, right there, real reality. We didn't, and you make connections too. People don't realize a whole block, everybody walking around talking, you start making connections, like for business, to make money, to help each other. And then you start to stick together. This is what they got rid of. They wanted this. They didn't want this. You became like a unit, like a whole block. All of a sudden,
if any nefarious person or drug dealer or a child hugger came into the neighborhood, all the men, and I say fucking men, you and I talked about this before, the men would get together and run this person out of town. That's all there was to it.
Yeah. I lived in a block in Coney Island. It was West 16th Street.
Oh, yeah.
If you didn't belong on that block,
that was it.
If you would see 10 guys come out with bats, you were getting your ass kicked.
That was it.
Nobody came down that block unless they lived on that block or they knew relatives on. You didn't come down that block. It was like a fortress.
Yeah.
And even when I went to school, it was a famous street though, because some of the boys lived on it, right? So I would go to school and they go, where do you live? I go, West 16th Street. They were like, oh, they wouldn't even fuck with me because they knew that block was, you weren't fucking with that block.
Yeah.
And that's how it was though. These guys didn't care. Yeah. But the problem now is the cops back then would get there and they wouldn't care. They would understand. They had morals. They would understand, hey, that guy kicked this pedophile off the street. Today, they'll still
watch
defend
what
the
you say. Watch what you say. That's what you and I were talking about before. Yeah. The cops used to be, clean uniform, officer friendly. They knew everything. Hey, Joey, how you doing? How's your mother? Your mother's all right? Oh, that's so good. Hey, tell you what, I just made some sandwiches. Let me wrap up one and
yeah.
Or I made a casserole. Let me give you some leftovers. You take it home to the wife. Tell her I said hello. And that was it.
Those are the good old days.
Gone.
The devil sunk his feet in this country.
It could be rebuilt again. You just got to start. We went inside and started looking at the TV and making comments at the TV instead of talking to each other.
Right.
Everybody. Look at the internet now. That's what the internet's become. Everybody's pointing fingers. Oh, look at this person. Look at that person. And it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter what it is. If it's Kim Kardashian or your favorite soap opera or the game show or the politics or religion, whatever it is, there's always a group of people. Oh, look at this person. Look at that person. Look at this person. Look at that person. Instead of actually, hey, there's a whole world out there. There's a whole world out there, and it all starts with your neighborhood. Go find out who people are.
Everybody's competing with everybody too now, He's got a nicer car than me. This kid got a, when I was a kid, almost everybody had the same sneakers, kind of like it was either you had Pro Kids or Converse, and they were all basically the same amount of money, $20 or whatever it was. And we all went to school and we all kind of had similar stuff. Once in a while, you got Pumas. They were a little more money, suede, but we were kind of all equal in a way. And we didn't worry about who had what or he got some. Now it seems like everything's a competition about materialism. I got a nice phone, you don't. They make fun of the kid. That we didn't have any of that pressure. Like as a kid, we were all kind of the same. No matter, even my parents made a little more money. That people were more conservative with their money in those days too. Even they had a little more money, they didn't go waste it. Today, we just got a credit line. We're gonna go crazy. Who's got a bigger credit line is gonna go wild.
Well, yeah, Well, why is that? It was like you said, you're a New Yorker. What was it used to be? It used to be, you would raise your children and they would go off and become adults. They would get married or whatever, and you would either. I'm
listening. Go ahead.
You would either. I got you. You would either stay in the neighborhood, and you would stay and die. You would basically pass away in the neighborhood. Maybe, but a lot of times you'd save you pay off the house, and you'd save your pennies, and you'd give your house to your kids, or somebody, or another family member, and you retire down to Florida. You go down to Miami Beach, and you pay cash for a house there, and you live the good life until you passed on to the next world, and that was it. Give your kids and everybody a reason to come and visit. You muted.
I said you're right about everything you were saying, and I think for us to get to that point, we're going to need a few catastrophes to happen here in America.
No, it's not going to take that. That's what
maybe
I'm saying.
Maybe they're going to shut the power off or something for people to wake up.
Start now. Start tomorrow. Go across the street. Go to the house behind you. Hey, how are you? How's it going? My name's such and such. I've lived here for X amount of years. Right. We've never met. How are you? And
yep.
And it doesn't have to be. Don't talk about the usual crap. Oh, what religion are you? Man, sir, I really don't discuss that. I just thought I'd come by and just say hello and meet you. Oh, well, who do you vote for? Sir, once again, ma'am, I just wanted to come and say hello. I really don't get involved in all that. I'm just like you. I just like to go to work and come home and, eat my meal and relax, I don't get involved in all that. Don't talk about hot button issues. Just go talk to your neighbors.
I never used to hear my father, like when he talked to the neighbors about like politics. They used to just talk about stuff that was funny. They had a good time, talk about good food and things like that. And, they just shoot the shit. But today it seems to be everybody's worried about every little bullshit thing now.
Oh, that's why I'm saying stay away from the hot button issues, because, that's what they use to divide us. Oh, you voted for this person, you must be a bad person. You belong to this religion, you must be a bad person. You like the sports team, you must be a bad person. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, well, you know me, Gunny. You've heard me plenty of times. I'll be, you know me. I speak it the way. The real reason I'm on YouTube, and I know you'll disagree, but I believe, and I'm really out here because I believe there's just too many evil bastards out there.
I agree.
If there weren't so many evil bastards, I wouldn't even be on YouTube. To be honest, I probably wouldn't even wanted to like this. It's like I'm so obsessed with talking about these evil bastards. I got to try to control myself. I just hate them. I just hate the shit they're doing, and they're getting away with it, and it drives me crazy. I be honest, but other than that, you're right. We got to start talking about things that don't matter, of bullshit that makes us divide. That is definitely true. Yeah. They got us so busy fighting ourselves that we can't even get together and unify.
just get to know people in your neighborhood. Start with the people around you.
I
If there's
mean, yeah,
if there's an old person that lives on your block, just show up go talk to him. Go talk to him once a month. How you doing, Mr. Wilson? How's it going? Just thought I'd stop by and, say hello and come and talk to you for a little bit.
hmm
Stop by and hey, I notice your lawn's looking a little rough. Tell you what,
yeah.
I'll drop by next Saturday and mow this lawn for you.
When did you ever hear of anybody doing that
I'm gonna
anymore?
come I'm gonna come by Saturday, and I'll tell you what, you know come by Saturday. I'll tell you what, I'll take you to that nice car wash over there. What do you say?
Yeah.
My treat. I'll take you to that nice car wash where they wash it and detail it and everything for you. I know a buddy of mine. Whatever you got to do, talk to people. Just talk to them.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what
Even
made this
yeah.
country great. Is people knew each other.
Yep. It's all about that. How many people, stoop talk, they call it. You sit on the
Yeah,
stoop,
yeah,
you know. I mean, how crazy is it that people would say, nah, I'm telling people, we used to play in the street, like the fucking street with cars coming by. Like,
yeah.
we would get off in the car. But you think parents today are going to let their kids play in the street? We used to play in the street. Nobody got run over. You know, uh, it was a different time. Everything was different. We were all smart enough to do shit. Today they've dumbed us
Yeah,
down the way you got to sit in your backyard.
yeah. And then you ride around the neighborhood with your friends on your bike, a bunch
Yeah,
of hoodlums and maniacs. You fall off your bike and you get a rash or a gash on your arm or your leg or something,
yeah,
and then you fall down, you rub a little dirt on it, and you keep right on riding, and then what would happen, pops? Nightfall would come around, you come home for dinner, because you come home for dinner, mom would see that cut or brush burn on your
right.
leg or whatever, and then she hits you upside the head.
Yeah, that's
Don't
really what
fall off your
happened.
bike. You know better than that. you
Wow,
know we got you
so
that bike for
different.
Christmas. You asked for it. Don't fall off your bike.
Yep, different world. I don't ever see kids out in the street playing anymore. I don't see kids in the park playing anymore. It's done.
It's coming back. I do see it. The other day, what was it? Last week. last week my last week my lady and I were in the store, and I'm one of those really courteous people in the store. I take my cart to the very end of the aisle. I get it out of everybody's way, and then I stand up against the aisle so people could pass me by. I stand up, if I'm looking at a product and I'm trying to decide which one to buy, I'll be looking, kind of deciding which one do I want. And we're standing there, and this kind of, I don't know, this girl had to be, maybe 13, 14 years old. And she walks in front of us, you know, excuse me, and it says excuse me, and passes us by. I say no problem. And then the father's pushing the cart, and the girl's doing what teenage girls do. She's dancing, and I noticed she said excuse me. Number one, I noticed that. I'm like, this girl's 14 years old. She's not wearing any kind of crazy stylish clothes. She's not wearing a lick of makeup. She's not holding onto a cell phone. She doesn't have any earbuds in her ear. Then her father comes by. He says, excuse me. And I got the man's attention. I said, hey, sir, real quick, and I said, I shook his hand. I said, you don't see this. You don't see this from children anymore. You don't see this from children anymore. I said, your daughter was had some respect, had some class, excuse herself, and I was just blown away. And I gave the man $2. I said, look, if you don't mind, let me give you $2, and the young lady, get the young lady a soda or whatever she wants. And I was just blown away. And I'm starting to see more of that. People are yearning for it back. They're really wanting You know, they're really wanting what's old becomes new again kind of thing. You're muted again.
I said, that's great. I said, I agree. I said, but even back in my days, when did you ever see a young man yelling at an older person? Never. I never
No.
seen it. That was unheard. Even if the old man was wrong, it didn't matter. Today, even in like driving a car, look, plenty of times you see an old man driving a car and he's driving a little slow. And these young kids are like pull on the side of the old man, even get out of the car sometimes and like kick his door or something. Like, what? This shit was unheard of when I was a kid. I don't even see young people anymore opening up the door for like a woman or an elderly person. Like, I don't see them doing it like it used to be. Like, I always do it. It's a habit. If I see somebody old or something, I open the door for them. I don't know, when I'm going into a store or whatever. They could be even walking towards me. They're coming, they're midway in the parking lot, but I see them coming. I'm going to wait there and open the door for that old guy with a cane.
Yeah.
They don't do this anymore. People
no.
We got to start caring about each other and stop worrying about bullshit. But it's just, I don't know if it's the programming with the TV, and it's a combination of a lot of things. They don't want us to get along.
I think so.
Even racism right now, I think is worse than when I was a kid. Way worse. I think because they've been pumping it up. They're pumping it into the system now. All this shit.
Like
they're
you and I always say,
people's brains.
Yeah, they want everybody to hate each other, because the more we're hating each other, we're not trying to get them the hell out of office.
We're not looking at them. That's right.
We're not looking at them.
That's
they don't
100%.
want to like what does Primal say? They don't want us talking. They don't want us talking to each other.
Think about it. If there was nothing going on that would distract us, what would we be talking about? Them. They don't want us talking about them. They're like, oh no, give them another fucking sport. Invent something. Just take them off of us.
Yep. Here's the latest show. Here's a war
if you got it.
Here's your sports show. Here's your American Idol. Here's this. You're worried about having dressing like this super celebrity, or having lips or a butt like this other celebrity. No, man, it's all culture. Culture is not your friend. Culture is your enemy. It is not your friend.
To me, Kim Kardashian is the talk of. I mean, like, if I had to do one specific person that got super rich from making a porno film, like with a guy, like that was insane. She got rich from making a porn. I mean, like, really? Shit, if I knew that, I would have made a porn myself when I was a young man. I mean, this is how crazy our society is. And then she goes and gets like plastic put in her butt, and now everybody wants to be like her. I mean, what's wrong with this world?
The number, again, I coach men for close to 20 years now, and I don't know how to talk to girls. I'm like, easy, it's real easy. Yeah, well, what do you mean it's easy? I'm like, talk to everybody. What do you mean? I'm like, you got to talk to everybody, just about everything. Good morning, good afternoon, good morning, sir, good morning, ma'am. How are you today? Talk about the weather. It's a little bit warm today, but hopefully it'll cool off. Those darn weathermen can all it's just mild mannered everyday stuff.
Yes.
And well, you look cheerful today, or on the other side of it. Hey, I hope your day gets better.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to people.
But you have to be careful with your words in the workplace today. You have to be very careful with your words. You can insult somebody by saying, calling somebody ma'am or Mrs. or they get insulted. Like, people are just out of control now.
Yeah.
I called somebody. I forgot what I called somebody. I think sweetie or something, like, when you call a girl, like, oh, thank you, sweetie, or whatever. I forgot what I called her, something to that effect. And she got offended, like we used to talk like this to people, like being nice, you're just being nice or whatever, but you got to like.
That's how you forget catastrophes, forget all that stuff, forget the BS.
Right.
Just talk to people. Everybody that you run into all the time, talk to them. Perfect stranger, even you don't know. Good morning. How are you? That's a great shirt. Blue's my favorite color. That's a really cool, whatever it is. You don't know. That is how we get the world back. The world is on fucking, as I always love to say, Pops, the world's on fucking fire. This country's on fire.
People need to talk to each other.
Yeah,
right?
forget the world. Get as local as you can. Start with your neighbors, and then every time you leave the house, talk to people, whoever it is.
Right.
Whoever it is. Whoever it is, the person at the gas station. People don't want to
talk, Gunny. You talk to people. I'm telling you, I go to stores, and if you just say hello to somebody, they'll look at you like, I understand your neighbors. We got to start somewhere. But what I'm saying is, people have been trained now not to talk. Like, they're being trained to text only. Like, this is a whole mechanism to separate us, to do what they're doing, because it's worked, so far. Now we got to go back to the old ways, because it works a lot better the old ways. Definitely does. But me and you lived that. Most people don't know that. They don't know what it is, that the whole entire block was out on a Saturday night. They don't know what that is. People will be like, what? You know what? A lot of people don't even know what a block party is anymore.
Yeah.
Like, they don't even have block parties most of the time anymore. They don't do it.
No.
But you tell somebody, when's your block party? What do you mean block party? In Brooklyn, every block had a block party, different days. Yeah. We used to go to different block parties. Like, every weekend. We were going, like, to different... It was great. It was like, a block party's the best. You're a young kid, you're picking up girls, you're hanging out with your friends, you're eating good. I mean, don't get no better than that. And people rather sit home and watch Netflix and play Nintendo. Call of Duty. I played real Call of Duty almost. Compared, like, I was in the woods with my friends with, fake guns. If we made them out of trees, or we had actually like fake guns, and we played Call of Duty, but we played it for real. These kids are playing it on a computer. The only difference is we got real exercise.
That was, you and I grew up in what we're seeing right now, the Cold War.
Yeah.
The red threat. The Ruskies were the enemy. What you see now on the news is nothing new. Nope. Stalin and Gorbachev and all that. They used to topple. They used to invade countries. This is nothing new. They used to invade people all the time. They used to go places and just take what they wanted all the time. It didn't matter. Yep.
Now everybody's in a panic, because they're not used to it. They've been so protected in a way that they can't handle this. Like, there's the threat of nuclear war is making people shake in their pants now. The younger people.
Ain't gonna be no damn war, man.
No. But me and you know that. But these people, the younger generation, that's what all you see now on, all these channels. That's all they talk about, because they're scared shit deep down. Where me and you are like this has happened before. I've been through this shit already.
Right.
I remember when it was really bad, like, with Reagan, and they were ready to go, like nukes. It was getting scary with Russia.
Yeah, we came close a lot.
Yeah. My friend told me a couple of times I told you I had a friend that was he wasn't the XO of the submarine. He was like he was the second in command. I forgot what they call that.
The second in command is the XO.
All right, so he was the XO, the guy who's in charge of the sub. What's that called? The captain?
The CO.
The CO. So he was the XO, and he told me, Mike, there was a few times, he says, I really can't speak about it.
Yeah.
But he says, there was a few times it was close. That they were almost going to, the buttons were going to get pushed. He said, we've come very close. He says, people just don't know. But, it happens.
Yeah, man.
Well,
yeah, nukes don't work. I'll just say this, and I can't expand on it, but nukes do not work the way people think they do.
And I kind of know about them a little bit too, and I'll agree with that.
They do not work the way people think they do. They don't. It's more of a boogeyman than it is is it a real thing? Of course it's a real thing, but they do not work the way people think they do.
Yeah, I mean, I could just say this. You don't have to come, but I've read into it a lot too, that the plutonium in a lot of these old nukes, it don't work. It expires, I heard. Like, it gets old. So, there's a lot of boogeyman stuff that's going on out there with it,
Yeah, it's just,
but they're all bombs, you know, they're all missiles.
Yeah, it's just it's an economic thing, man. That's all it is. You know, if it'll calm down, you know, it'll go away. You know, the vodka president will probably have to answer for some stuff. He'll make a lot of noise, but you know, it won't be the first time. You know, the vodka nation, you
Yeah,
know,
but
isolates themselves from the rest of the world.
I've never seen what's going on now, though. Like I mean, the way they reacted to this is way too fast and like too furious. Like the way they're all sanctioning against them, and I mean, I've never seen it. This is like warp speed. They're doing it like out of nowhere. The next day, every single company, every single country, everybody's involved. You know, are they that scared or? You know, I believe there's more to the story. I don't just think he woke up one day because, I mean, he is a king in his country.
Right.
I don't really think he needed Ukraine.
Right. With the modern, that's the funny thing. One thing I will say, I can't comment on too much, not because I literally can't, but because we live in the current day and age of the internet and so much, you know, so much propaganda. You don't know what's true and what's not. You don't know who to believe.
That's right.
You know, and all news outlets have given out, you know, incomplete information, false information, or just bad information. So it's hard to, on top of that, but you don't know where those agencies are getting their sources. So I mean, it's difficult to you know, to determine what's what. You know, all you can do is hope for the best. You know, hope that everything goes well. Nobody wants this shit. I mean, nobody. I mean, it's crazy.
Even nobody. The people, they showed a video of a whole Air Force like brigade walking at Russian soldiers, and the Russians had the guns. This is on a video, and they stop and they start talking to each other, and they're probably telling each other like, "Yeah, we don't want this shit," and "Yeah, we don't," because nobody really wants it. It's only the big guys calling the shots, right? And then they turn around, the Ukrainians, because the Russians secured their air base or some shit, and they walk away, and they had their flag. Like nobody wanted to fight, so you know. In reality, nobody wants this. Only the big oligarchs are calling the shots, and we don't know what the real reason is. You know, trying to figure it out is kind of hard. I just don't believe Putin, with all the money he's got and the lifestyle he lives, he's basically a king in Russia.
Yeah.
I don't think he woke up one day for no reason and wanted to go in Ukraine just to like take a piece of land. There's a lot more to the story. I think it had a lot to do with NATO and shit. They wanted to arm Ukraine with a lot of shit to, you know, keep him in check. I mean, he don't want, you know, them to have access to Ukraine, NATO, like where they could just bring in tanks and shit right next door to him. I mean, I don't know really what it is, but I find it weird. But they say he's been talking about this for years. He's been telling them, like, listen, this shit can't go on, but there's got to be more to the story. I mean, he did supposedly throw out the central banks in his country, like these banks that I guess
I don't know about any of that.
Well, that's out there that he threw out. I guess the Rothschilds or whoever it is controlling these, and he's basically doing his own banking, like in Russia, like they're banking their own money. So when you do that, you're playing with the big boys. I mean, you know, there's a lot of shit that we don't know. I mean, I give hypothetical guesses. I tell everybody I had a couple of theories before you got on, and they were just, I tell you, hey, these are my theories. I don't know if it's true or not, but I just can't figure out. Now, tell me you didn't hear this, because I heard it live. The president before this guy put a warrant out for Biden, not his son. And the father was like going in. He was becoming the president. Had a warrant out for his arrest. That president, the one before this clown that they got, the comedian. And then all of a sudden, he got thrown out of office, basically. The vote came, and with the machines, who knows what happened. And this guy became the president. And now this guy's on TV acting like, you ever see a president wearing a T-shirt? This fucking guy, not only does he wear I can understand if he's in the street and he's got like, you know, the hell, they show him he's in the street, he's got body armor on, he's acting like he's fighting with the people. This guy's going to press conferences to the EU and he's got a t-shirt on. Like, what president that had him? He was on like the video. The whole EU was there. Like, we're talking like hundreds of countries, and this guy's got a t-shirt on. Like,
well, I mean, if
who does that?
I don't think he has time to put on a suit if he's, you know, dealing with conflict. I mean,
no, but come on, yeah, this guy, he's still in a secured bunker somewhere. I mean,
I don't know, man.
He's on the run. He's got to wear a t-shirt. Come on, he couldn't throw a shirt with a tie on like you're the president of a country. And then there's another picture. He's hanging out with like these terry cloth sweatsuits. They look like they were gangsters. And there's 3 of them standing there, like taking a picture. Like, I don't get it. I just don't get this Ukrainian president. That's my biggest problem.
I don't know, man.
I get Putin.
I'm with you. It's weird and it's hard. That was what I was saying before. It's hard to figure out what's what. I mean,
they know what's really going on.
Right.
We don't know what's going on in Putin's mind. It's either it's a plan or he's got a plan. Something's going on. You know, he didn't go in there for no reason. That's all I can say.
You know, you and I talk about this all the time. Is you know,
yeah.
All I know is that there are people that know what's going on, but we'll never know that. But
there you go.
The people that do know what's going on are they're either powerful enough or they know people powerful enough to make the world think something else.
That's a perfect way to say it, because it's true.
Who knows, man? You know, that's why I don't get involved in all this stuff. I just concentrate on my immediate circle. I concentrate on my you know, on my house, my neighborhood, my friends, my family. You know.
Well, I could do a show on that, and probably nobody will watch it. But if I do a show on what's going on in Ukraine and Russia, everybody's tuning in because everybody wants to know what's going on. Guess what? You're never going to know what's going on. Even after this is all over, you still won't understand why he went in there. Let's say this all ends up, you know, you still won't know. Now, a lot of people are speculating that he's going to install a puppet president in there, but I don't believe that's happening.
Yeah, that's what I said. The vodka president's going to go in there and take over the country, install his own regime, and the whole thing is going to go away because it'll have to.
Yeah,
it'll have to at that point. You know, I mean,
nobody wants to go to war with Russia. Let's face reality. I mean, win or lose, nobody who wants to go to war with Russia. Nobody.
I think it would be like the Iraq and Afghani war. I think anybody going to war with Russia, I think the Russians, they would do like the Iraqis did and throw up their hands and surrender and say, yes, take me as prisoner. I don't want to die, and I don't want to fight for this asshole. Get me out of here. Take me to jail. I don't care. Just take me to jail in America. I don't care.
Could be, but we don't really, you know. I mean, they may have, you know, these soldiers. They can't just abandon. Well, they'll get you know, firing squad.
Who knows? I hope not.
No, but you know.
Yeah.
This is the funniest thing, though, I find, Gunny. I really think this is bullshit. They say 16,000 soldiers went from different countries to fight with the Ukrainian people voluntarily, but voluntarily. Not like they're mercenaries that are getting paid, which, look, I know you could probably find 100 or 200 psychos that would love to just go there and go to war. I mean, there are people out there that are, but you can't get 16,000 professional soldiers that are going to go there for free.
You can. You totally can. You totally can. I know.
You think you can get 16,000 soldiers to go fight for free?
I'm in this circle. I know 12 people personally that applied. Not personally. I know 3 people personally that applied, and I know 11 other guys through like forums and whatnot that claim that they applied for the for the Volunteer Legion.
Yeah, well, I'm not saying you can't get a couple of hundred, but to get 16,000, I mean, like,
16,000 is not that many people. It's from, you got to remember, Pops. You're talking about they put out this information from all. You got to remember. You got to remember there are men that they miss war. They miss conflict. They miss war. They miss conflict. They can't join the military. They can't rejoin the military, and they're bored, or they want to be involved in change. They want to be involved, or they just want to die with their boots on. Yeah, 16,000 it's not an unimaginable number.
well, I think me personally, I don't believe people are going to go fight for free. But I get you if you think there's enough psychos out. I think that they hired mercenaries, to like Blackwater shit, to go in there and help them, especially America. I can't see there's that many insane people that really need to go fight a war. This is no joke. This is you're talking about like Russians. They got a lot of stuff too. I mean, you're not going to war with third world. Like I could, like Iraq. That war was a joke. They were shooting their tanks from a distance that their tanks couldn't even hit their tanks. I mean, we had an advantage everywhere we could.
Oh yeah.
There is no advantage of going into Ukraine to fight Russia. Russia has the advantage no matter what. I mean, they got the planes, they got the tanks, they got everything. I mean, I can't see how we could think that Russia could lose this. I mean, if they really want, they'll just send their Air Force in and start bombing the shit out of everything. They say they shot down a few planes. Big deal. You know how many planes Russia has? Woo. They just got to send a couple of bombers in there and start dropping bombs. You see how fast everybody runs,
No.
I don't think it's going to happen, but
technically, I mean, you could take the boots on ground, close off all the roads in and out of Ukraine.
Yeah.
Surround the whole country with troops and personnel and just squeeze inward. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
but I don't understand another thing though. Ukraine, if you look, you could Google it. Their military strength is pretty good. I mean, they got 250,000 soldiers.
Yeah,
and they got 250,000 in reserve, and they got a lot of good equipment already. They've been. So why is it every time I see a conflict, I really don't see no Ukrainian army there fighting? Like you'll just see civilians. But what about what about Ukrainians' military? Like, if you were coming into America from Canada, our military would be in the front line, not our civilians.
Right.
So why is it, and 250,000 professionally trained soldiers, that's a pretty big, they're the 22nd biggest army out of we're talking a couple of hundred countries. So
yeah, they're pretty big.
So why is it that you don't see their army fighting the Russians? You just see civilians all the time on TV. Once in a while, they'll show you a little small unit of real soldiers fighting a little bit. But how is Russia even in there that easy? I
don't know, man.
Look, you got 150,000 soldiers, Russians, coming in. And I got 250,000 soldiers. Now, Russians' army is like 1 million or whatever deep. But you're only sending 150,000. How can my 250,000 not hold you up in the front? How did they even let them get in the country? That's my problem. There should have been 150,000 Ukrainian soldiers at the front lines fighting the 150 coming in, because Russia didn't send their whole army in. So where is the Ukrainian army? Are they hiding in the mountains doing guerrilla warfare? Where are they?
Maybe they're protecting the civilian populace.
Well, they didn't. They let them take a couple of cities already.
Well, I mean,
Russia has 2-3 cities. They took them.
Right. The little sorties, the little sorties, the ground combat is weird, especially in urban areas. So I mean, like I said, I don't see this whole thing playing out very much longer.
Well, the way they're making it seem is Russia's getting their ass kicked.
Well, like I said, man, I mean, who knows? I'm not. I'll tell you
It's
the
all
honest truth.
propaganda.
Yeah, I'm not really following it because
It's all bullshit.
I think we got our own problems to worry about here in the States.
Yeah, so this guy outnumbered saying Ukraine's nuke plant is on fire right now. Possibility it could leak radiation. I got to believe without Ukrainian soldiers fighting on the front lines, that's a red flag to me. If my country is getting invaded by 150,000 Russian soldiers, and I have 250,000 Ukrainian soldiers, I'm at least sending maybe 100,000 to the front line. I mean, you ain't getting through, it's going to be a real tough battle at that point. There's nobody that's stopping Russia. They're just coming in. They're 40-mile convoy of trucks. They're saying it's at a halt because they don't have gasoline. I mean, really? Russia sent all that shit in and they didn't have the logistics figured out? I mean, what kind of generals do they have then? I mean, that's something hard to believe, I think they probably blew up the roads or something. That's why they can't get in. I mean, if you blew up all the main roads, how are they going to get in?
Well, that's what I'm saying. The ground combat, especially in urban areas, it's strange and it's difficult.
Real difficult if you don't want a lot of civilian casualties, because I
Right.
really believe he's trying to avoid killing as many civilians as he can. I don't think he's in there just dropping bombs on the whole entire city like we did. When we went into Iraq, I mean, we were blowing up the whole city. We didn't even give a shit.
Well, that was different. That was different.
I got you.
Iraq had a couple of different legions, plus they had a couple of different people backing them, and plus they had the what was the unit that they were worried about? The Crimson Guard, and those mofos are like zero fear, and it was
I remember that.
That was a different thing altogether.
I mean, maybe the media is lying and it really ain't the civilians in the front lines and they're pushing this agenda to make people feel sorry for Ukraine. Because I cannot figure out how you have civilians with Molotov cocktails. They're showing you on the thing. They've all got milk crates of Molotov cocktail bombs and AK-47s, and they're going to hold off the Russian army? Come on now. I mean, I think actually the Ukrainian army is probably holding them off, but they're not showing it. I don't know why. Maybe they're trying to get pity for Ukraine through civilians. Something's weird. Something just doesn't. This war doesn't make sense as far as even combat. It doesn't make sense. It just don't. I can't put my mind to it. Where is I keep saying it every time. Where is the Ukrainian army?
I don't know.
I don't know either. But
maybe
we're gonna find out sooner or later. They can't hide it forever, right?
Let's create some real content. Maybe they're being sponsored by the lizard alien people of doom.
Oh yeah, right. The lizards are out, and they're scared of the lizard people. Who knows? I don't believe any of that. I just these the way this war is going, it's not the rules of engagement. I never seen a civilian population on the front line. Now, if you ran out of soldiers, I get it. You're at a war and now all your soldiers got kind of whacked. You have no more. You're limited now. You lost most of your army. Okay, now I can understand the civilian saying, "Okay, well, we're second line of defense. Let's go." But the civilians are in the front. That's like we're getting invaded by China, and me and you are going to be with rifles in the front line, and we're going to turn around and go, "Where's our army?" How does that make any sense? Then I hear excuses, though. People are making all kinds of excuses for it. Oh, well, the army can't cover the whole city. But of course they can't, but they could cover the roadways where they got to. You can't roll a tank in unless you're on a road or something. I mean, what are you going to do? Go over
yes and no. I mean, a tank can go,
trees. I know,
right?
That doesn't seem the way they're doing it, though. They're on the highways coming in.
Well, yeah, of course you're going to take the path of least resistance.
Right.
Tanks roll easier on roads than they do over any other terrain, of course.
And now they're saying they really got the capital surrounded. I don't know if that's true.
No.
Well,
If they had the capital surrounded, then they would easily take it, because that's all you got to do is push and squeeze inward.
Well, I think that's what they're doing now. They're not near it yet, but they're pushing, squeezing.
Oh man, this is.
But you
it's got to stop, man. This craziness has got to stop.
And here's the best, though. Tell me this ain't crazy. Tactically, I'm watching Fox News, and Fox News pulls up like a satellite image of where all the Russian troops are, like where their helicopters are, where their base is, and then they go, and I'm going, but how could they have all this like high tech shit information, like? And then they're going, yeah, we got this from one of the ground bases on the Russian side. Like, so you're telling me like I'm at war and I'm going to give my positions of all my, men and where my helicopters are, my tanks are. Like, that's unheard of. Like, who gives up position? Like, what is Fox News got a satellite now? They could zoom in on shit like they're not supposed to be doing. Like, I'm looking at this. I'm going, this shit doesn't even make sense. This isn't even war. This is like a movie. It's not even a war. It's like a movie. They're making a movie out of it, you know?
Hey, maybe that's it. Let's take it down the conspiracy lane. Maybe the whole thing is being filmed in Hollywood, and it's all a film, like you said. Maybe it's a movie.
I don't think it's filmed
like
in
the moon
Hollywood.
landing.
I just think I think it's kind of like, how does Fox have this information? Like, I don't even make. And they're saying they got it from Russia. One of the Russian bases. So Russia's going to give up their positions of their vehicles and their helicopters, and it's like a joke. Maybe it's a decoy. Maybe tell them we're over here. We'll be over there. I mean, like, I can't figure it out anymore. I never seen war tactics like this.
Maybe they got it from quote unquote a weather satellite.
Well, all I could say is, if Russia's having this hard a time going into Ukraine, then I don't think the U.S. got to fear anything, because I think our fucking army would have destroyed Ukraine already. Like, our military would have been in there wiping the streets with them. You know, I don't see us being outgunned by anybody just watching this happen. I looked at you look at Russia's stuff. It looks old, a lot of their equipment. I don't know. Maybe they sent all their old equipment in first. I mean, I don't know. They're even saying they didn't even send their good soldiers in there. I mean, I don't know. They sent their rookies in there. They kept all their good soldiers in the back.
Maybe.
It could be. Maybe
they sent all the old stuff because,
they don't care. They want to get rid of it. If it gets stuck on the highway, leave it there.
We don't want the factories to make parts for old things anymore.
Yeah, bring in the old tanks. Remember that old World War II tank they had? That was a good tank. I forgot the name of it.
The Tiger?
No, the Russians had. The Tiger was a German tank.
Oh, yeah.
Is it the M9 or some shit? They had a real
something. I don't know. I forgot about that old Soviet tech, the USSR.
Yeah, but it looks like the Ukrainians looks like they got Abrams. Like, I'm looking at their tanks, and they look like those Abrams models with that body armor that when like if a missile hits it, the body armor is like shingles. It pushes the
it's what they call powered armor.
Yeah. So I'm like, ooh, Ukraine got some modern shit. And then I'm looking at the Russian shit, and it looks old. Even the helicopters, they look like they were 20, 30 years old. They look rusted.
Maybe that's it.
Maybe their old equipment.
Maybe they sent the old stuff in case Ukraine put up, a serious fight. That's a tactic by itself, is you send in the old stuff with your newbies, and that way, if it gets blown up and those guys get killed, you're not really losing anything. And if they, just to see what the enemy is capable of, and that way, you can make a determination. So if the enemy uses all their
missiles and shit,
they use up all their ammo and all their resources, and then you wait till they use them all up, and then you send in the mediocre. You send in the
red wave,
right? You send in your mediocre group, instead of the cannon fodder. You send in the mediocre guys, and then they make a big stink, and to make sure your enemy uses the last of their stuff. I don't know.
I don't know either. I'm just saying, like, when you look at this as tactics, it doesn't make sense tactically to the way this is going down. I mean, I'm not a general in the army, but I'm looking at that like if I was a general, I wouldn't be giving up my locations of all my equipment and going in on a road 40 miles, with all this old equipment. Like nothing's making sense to me. It's just, and I'm not sending planes in there to get shot down. I mean, I don't know. I'm looking at this whole war, and it looks like it's something. It looks like out of a movie, even though, I mean, it's really going down there, but it just, I don't know what's going on. They're hiding.
Well, that's just the thing. I mean, we haven't, like you said earlier, we haven't seen anything like this in so long that when we do see it, it maybe it does look kind of fake. I don't know. We don't know.
I don't even think fake. It's just something strange. I mean, just having civilians on the front line, to me, with AK-47s and Molotov cocktails, if that's the best you can do, then where are your 250,000 soldiers that you say you had? Maybe you never really had a 250,000 man army, and that was all lies. That's the only way I could believe it. I mean, if I got professional soldiers, I got to go send them first, right? To go really win the war right from the beginning. I don't even want them to enter my country. So something's weird. Even their Air Force.
It's not really civilians. I think Outnumbered had said this earlier, something about the rules of engagement. Almost every country, especially in the in that region, has mandatory what they call conscripted service. Means right. everybody has to serve, a mandatory
Israel. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 2 years, 3 years. You have to serve like a mandatory. So you get that training, and then all around the city at different points of the city, just like Israel and some other countries, there's armories and depots and camps and bases and whatnot. That way, if something like this happens, the civilians can activate, run to that armory, grab some weapons and equipment, and then do what they got to do. Mikey,
here he is.
Yeah,
the rabbit hole. Yeah, I just find there's just so much strange stuff going on that it just doesn't add up to like war to me, like a normal war. There's just something wrong here with the whole picture.
It doesn't smell like a normal war.
No, it's just so strange. Unless the media, I don't know why the media would hide a lot of the true fighting. If there was Ukrainian forces fighting Russian forces, that doesn't make sense. And, if I'm Russia and I'm sending in my planes, you rest assured that they ain't getting shot down. I'm going to take out all their air defense systems before anything. So I don't know how, I just can't get that. The civilian thing's got me going the most. It's like I don't see soldiers in uniform. You see it once in a blue moon a little bit, but not a lot. And when you look at their military strength, Ukraine military strength, let me just Google it real quick. And they got a lot of stuff. It's not like they don't have weapons. I mean, they got a lot of stuff, supposedly. Ukraine, they're saying on high alert, they have 130 battle-ready soldiers, which is like their global firepower. I mean, their air power, they got 318 aircraft. I mean, they got fighters, interceptors. They got like 70 fighters, 34 attack helicopters. So they got to hold off a first line, like, the first invasion. I mean, they could have held that off with no problem. Let's see how many tanks. They got 2,600 tanks. 1,000 propelled artillery, 12,000 armored vehicles. I mean, 500 rocket projectors. I mean, I didn't see any of this stuff from Ukraine. I just see Russian. Where's Ukraine stuff? Are they hiding it?
I don't think they got as much as they say they got. I mean, everybody lies.
Yeah, or even if they lie a little bit, they still should have quite a bit. I mean, Ukraine's been getting armored up from the Euro councils. They knew this was coming. They didn't think
They even they went inside Russian tanks and shit that was going in there, bro, and it was all like old shit. Like they were going in them, and it was just old.
Yeah, I think Russia sent in their old equipment first.
They're getting rid of all their crap.
Yeah, they figured if it gets stuck there, who gives a shit? But I don't think they're jet fighters. They're sending.
No, but the ground stuff and even the chopper, they were showing it. It was all like crappy old equipment.
Oh, the choppers too. I said they're old looking. They look like they're rusted. They're so
Yeah,
old.
they're old. I mean,
Well,
the
yeah.
inside, it was just not sophisticated equipment like we have.
No. Well,
Right, that's
listen,
what I was
Russia
saying
has
before.
stealth
You send in all your old stuff and your new guys. That way, if they get wasted,
be right
it's
back.
not a big deal. And if the old stuff gets blown up, you're not really losing anything. That way, you get the enemy. In this case, it would be the poor. It would be the poor Ukrainians. You get the enemy to use up all their good people and their good equipment, or in this case, the civilians are the cannon fodder to go first. But you don't want to use the good stuff, and you don't want to use everything you got, in the beginning, all up front.
Yeah, they'd get rid of all their expendable shit first.
Right.
I mean, they got to decommission this stuff soon anyway, bro. They might as well throw it at their nearest enemy.
Russia never decoms anything. They hold on to it for a while, and then they either put it in storage or they sell it to some third or fourth world country.
They sell it in the Arabias somewhere.
That's what I'm saying.
They're like, hey, you want some missile launchers, buddy?
I've seen in Kuwait and Iraq and Afghanistan and Pakistan, I've seen AK-47s that were made in the 1950s. Ask me how I know.
But yo, in all fairness, bro, Russia does make some really good weaponry and ammunitions.
I won't take that away from you. They mass produce better than any organized nation I've ever seen.
The AK-47 is still a very good rifle.
Depends on who you talk to.
I mean, there's better, but you know what I'm saying? There are variations off the AK, and you know what I mean? Depends on what you're doing with it.
Well, you gotta remember what it is. They learned from World War II. World War II was able to take weapons and then cheaply stamp them out. They were able to stamp out and make weapons quickly. That's how you got like the grease gun and other arms and armament. They were able to stamp out
like
guns
a Mac
quickly
10 and stuff like that.
Well, Mac 10 came like way later, and that was more of a like a jungle warfare kind of thing. That was to rival the Uzi. But that's a different story.
I forget which one it was, but yeah, there was Uzis and stuff that was being printed too, because they're just all sheet metal.
Right, the Uzis is Israeli. That was like the early like it was like the mid 70s. When the Israelis were not really first fooling around, but they were like, what was it? The PLA, Palestinian Liberation Army, was fighting with so they needed a close quarters, rapid fire, light, easy to use,
It's good in an urban
Well, I
environment.
think mass
too.
production sometimes could win a battle. I mean, Germany's tanks during World War II they were way better than our tanks, but we just made 4 for every one of theirs. And
right.
At the end of the day, we always had one left over.
We were able to mass produce because they took places that made
General
other
Motors.
stuff, and because these places already had machinery.
Right, assembly lines and everything.
Right, they took engine manufacturers, boat manufacturers,
car manufacturers,
typewriter,
Yep.
typewriter machinery,
yeah,
any place that had machinery, and because they had this machinery, they also had machines that could make machines that could make stuff. So they had machines that could make parts to make a lathe.
right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
They could make a lathe, and then they could use that lathe to make 2 or 3 more lathes.
Right.
And they could make things like, and the U.S. government turned over the patents and blueprints to make stuff and said, here, start cranking it out.
Right.
We'll give you a tax break, or we'll give you the money or whatever, or we'll remember this on the back end.
Right.
And that's what they did. They started cranking out stuff to no end.
Oh, we were cranking out tanks and planes like it was going out of style. That's kind of what happened. I mean, even Germany had a way better tank. Even if he destroyed 3 of the 4, we were outnumbering them 4-1. So if you killed 3, we still have 1 left over.
Yep.
You can't win. Yeah, I mean, that's what I think even Russia was good at one point too. With the tanks, even they were pumping out tanks quick. You have to. If Germany could have pumped out the tanks at the same rate that we could, forget it. They would have won that war. That's for sure. But logistics, I think, killed Germany too. The supply. They went too deep into Russia. They went too deep into Europe.
Yeah.
Without gasoline, nothing runs, right? You can't. The tanks were running out of gas right on the fighting line.
Yeah. Tell Brandon to sell. Tell Brendan to send him the electric military vehicles. That'll work.
Oh yeah, well he already gave $90 billion worth of equipment to.
Oh Lord.
Where he left it there on purpose. That was left there on purpose to arm them. I mean, come on, we're not that stupid that we're going to leave all the equipment there. I mean, that made no sense whatsoever. Usually they'll roll that equipment out first.
There was also some pallets of cash.
I mean, think about it. Do you really think they care about people? People don't matter. There's no value to the soldiers. There's value to the equipment. They would have took the equipment out and left the soldiers there. You protect the equipment. They don't worry about the pilot. They worry about the $1 billion they spent on the plane. So he's saying, Pops, you see where Ukrainians sniped a Russian general? No, I didn't see that. That would be something. That would be a sight. If a Russian general was even in range to get shot. I mean, I don't know. I don't see a Russian general even being there. He's probably in a bunker there with Putin giving orders. Like, you seen that a little command center Putin had? They showed it. Can you hear me, Mike? Hello.
I can hear you, Pops.
Oh, all right. My son wasn't responding. I don't know if he's in another dimension with his pipe there. Looks like Gandalf now with a pipe.
I hear an angry Cuban woman yelling in the background.
Oh, that's his wife probably yelling at my grandchildren.
That's what he's dealing with.
Yeah, angry, crazy grandkids.
No one's yelling in the background. What are you talking about?
No. Oh, maybe that's in my house. That's Irene yelling.
Oh,
they
okay.
said you're yelling in the background, Irene. They're gonna have to. They said, "Who's that?"
No one's yelling.
They said, "Who's that Cuban yelling in the background?" She's yelling at the dogs because the dogs, when she gets home, they all jump on her because they know they're gonna eat. Like, she spoils them. Like, they know, oh, here it is. Oh, forget it. They almost knocked me over one day to get to the door, like before she was coming in, because one dog's real big, and they like swarmed me because they know they're gonna eat, and I feed them, but they're like, these dogs are spoiled. She goes and buys them gourmet meals like broiled chickens and shit. I'm like, humans don't eat that good. She won't give a shit about what we eat, but them dogs, man, they're always gonna get prime food. They're getting broiled chickens and all kinds of nice stuff. Beef stew, real stuff. Like, I'm like, really? I gotta stop her from giving the food away. Like, I'll cook and I'll make I'd say I made steaks, and there was I gotta stop her from. She'll give the dogs the steaks. I go, no, I'm gonna eat that later. Don't give it to the dog.
Gotta put your name on the food like you live in a dorm or something.
Yeah, I know. He said I didn't see no general get sniped. That would be on the front page of every news channel if that happened. I'll be right. Yeah, I think anyway. You know what? We'll end this anyway. It's getting late. I gotta go eat and do stuff. Uncle Gunn, thanks for coming on, man. Appreciate
Hey,
you.
thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, no problem. Anytime. But we're gonna call it a night. It's 3 hours deep already. I want to thank everyone for coming, and may the Almighty bless you and your family. And Pops out.